So just for people that don't follow Ultra 4, new to Ultra 4, we run different classes. So you just saw Shannon Campbell in a 4400 class car. We're now going to buy TVs.
The 4900 Can-Am UTV class is getting ready to kick off next. First is going to be Jim on course. The number 411 machine in his Can-Am. These things are really fast, but this is a big course, so horsepower definitely plays its course on this. So we'll see what kind of time. I'm going to guess UTVs will be right around that 135 mark or so. We'll see how this pans out. But he is really pushing hard, trying to qualify well for tomorrow's 2018 four-wheel parts Nitto National Championship here at the Wild West Motorsports Park, just outside of Reno, Nevada. That Can-Am's really showing off his horsepower up that.
Talking to the UTV drivers, they were really worried about this rock section. Obviously, 40-inch tyres make a big difference when you're going rocks that are. The UTVs are an amazing piece of kit. I'm new to those really, but there's a lot of horsepower, a lot of fun in a very small package, very problem-free because of the testing and development that goes in from the manufacturer. So for not a lot of money, you can come and play and are really fast.
And off the line, we just saw Travis Zollinger. He's currently sitting in fourth place in points. So we're going to have two on course at a time, so it's going to be a little tricky to keep up with where and what's going on. But Jim Hindle just crossed the Nitto finish line with a 139.9, so we're right in that quick range like we'll see if Zollinger can top that speed or not. And on the line, getting ready to take off next is our current national points leader, Jacob Versey, the blonde ambition himself, the 4931 in his single-seat Polaris. On screen, though, we see Zollinger heading down the Big O Dodge Rock section.
This car that's on the start line, this Jacob Versey, there's a lot of work gone into that. It's much narrower in the cabin. Be interesting to see whether that makes any difference.
He first debuted that car at the Ridgecrest race. So this is only his second race in that single-seat car. We see Zollinger heading through the four-wheel parks rock garden right now, really moving quick through that rock section. He's going to have a great time. We'll see if he can bump off Jim Hindle. And he does by just over 1 second. Travis Zollinger with a 138.2, so the competition is tight.
It's a great shot, actually, from the drone there, looking down on that rock garden. It's I was lucky enough to ride with Matt Howell yesterday, and those boulders are bigger than they look on the screen.
Yeah, talking about riding, I rode with Eric Miller this morning, and those rocks, like you said, are a lot bigger in person than on screen. So these guys are really going to have to pick their mark, make sure they come down the hill, and see what happens. On screen is Jacob Versey, making a pretty good line. It looks like they're picking that same line time after time. Rerunning this morning really did help these guys.
Qualifying, obviously, you know, there's no one else on the line, so he can stick to his favourite line. When it comes to the race, there could be an incident on his favourite line, so he might have to pick an alternate line. Definitely through Rock Garden, which is going into now. Historically, the line to the left was always preferred. How the rocks have moved and settled and the course has changed. Actually, there's a line open up to the right as well now, which is going to make a lot of difference.
So on screen there is the 779 Kenneth Goode, another single-seat Polaris, really making a good run. So it looks like Jacob Versey just threw down an extremely fast time of 131.5, so over 7 seconds faster than Travis Zollinger. So there's Kenneth Goodall right there, heading down the Big O Dodge Rock section. And that's just a great view of how tough this really is on these little cars. It's pretty cool. We have 7 live cameras on the course with 2 live for you guys. Keep all the action coming. So make sure to tune in, ultra4racing.com/live. Tune into our King of the Hammer Facebooks. Hit up the Instagrams, hashtag it up. Bottom of the screen, you see right now the KMC Wheels qualifying clock. Remember, this is unofficial. But the number 222, that's Trey McKinley, just absolutely launching through there. Goes a little deep in the corner, almost clips the K-rail, but saves it, keeps it moving. He's got a fast time ahead of him. We have Kenneth Goodall. He will be racing later on today, so he's using this UTV as kind of a rerun. Kind of cool to see them double dipping. So on screen there is Trey McKinley. Looks like the start line next will be Justin Barth out of Springfield, Missouri. Fairly local to myself. It's a heck of a drive to come out here. These guys travel all over the United States, all over the world to come this qualifying out. So huge shout out to all of our racers to come and give you guys this excitement. So Justin Barth on the lower right. Trey McKinley on the screen. Heading towards that start finish. He's got a right rear, completely fell off. I think he's going to cross the finish line, and he does. But 222, Trey McKinley breaks off the right rear of his car. So tough break for him.
He was doing really well as well. I would be interested to see how much that affects his time.
And I was talking to Lauren Healy earlier today. He said he definitely wants a good qualifying run, but he's not going to run 100% because he does not want to ruin his night of working on that car. Wants to save the car for tomorrow's racing. So some people give it all, some people won't. But McKinley's going to have his hands full tonight in the pits. Up next, number 24, Cole Clark. He's part of Team Jimmy's. So coming down the Big O Tire Rock section. Sorry, Big O Dodge Rock section.
Yeah, it's interesting to see some of the larger class, the 4400 class drivers actually doing UTV stuff as well. It gives them practice, gives them experience on the course for the main race. We're seeing that happen quite a lot now.
Off the line, Cole Clark. On screen, Justin Barth. I'll bet you after watching McKinley, he's going to take a little bit easy in this rock section, but he's actually driving pretty hard. Catches a rock, but keeps on going. Justin Barth crosses the Nitto. Start finish. On screen, Cole Clark. Justin Barth with a time of 1:44.1. McKinley, even with that left rear broke off, still finished with a 1:41. But still on the pole is our national points leader, Jacob Versey. Cole Clark just rounds the worn turn 3, heading up that long hill straightaway, dropping into the big rocks. I saw him in the pits this morning welding on his rear A-arm. He broke the right where the tie rod, or right where the end bolts on. It broke off at the end, so we had to butt weld it together and then fish weld it. So good to see him out there getting it going. So Cole Clark still pushing hard, trying to qualify for tomorrow's four-wheel National Championship.
So he's going down straight down the middle there, Miles, which is a different line again. So the course is evolving and changing all the time.
Clark, our new pole leader,
wow,
with a 1:29 even. 2.5 seconds faster than Jacob Versey. So huge shout out Cole Clark with an amazing run. Up next, the number 1911, Paul Hart. with Hart's Racing. We're going to get McKinley's car off there, so we're going to have a little break here. This is a perfect time to give some of our sponsors some love. We have Four Wheel Parts, Amsoil, Axial, Best Top, Can-Am, ESOB, Fab School. They're part of our Manufacturing Cup they'll round up this weekend. G2, Genrite, Griffin, HCR, Holly EFI, Jeep, King, KMC, LaserNut, MBRP, Method, Monster, Nitto, Optima, PCI Radios, ProComp, RCV, Renegade Fuel here is on site. Tahoe, we're at Rigid Industries, Rubicon Express, Champa, Share My Coach, Savvy, Smitty Built, Spider Track, Squatchbox, Steal It, 10 US Gear, Yukon. So a huge shout out to all those sponsors. Without those guys, we would not be racing here today. So we're scooping up McKinley's car. That's just a perfect angle. You can see the left rear is just hanging off there. They're kind of evaluating the damage. Looks like the axle. Sorry, it's the right rear.
Well, at least he still got a time in there, Miles. It was quite impressive crossing the finish line on.
He got lucky, he broke when he did, and he was at the end of that long rock section before the start finish and was able to peel all the way to the finish line. Broke shock, broke radius rod, broke trailing arm, axle. I'm sure it probably took out a brake line. Trey McKinley's going to have his hands full tonight. But he's got
the UTVs, don't you, Miles?
Absolutely. I race in a local series back home, KCORA. We have a lot of fun with it. They were supposed to have a race this weekend. I was going to have to miss it, but it got rained out, so I'm lucky enough to race in a couple weeks. We'll finish up our season. But these UTVs are a lot of fun. It's a great way to get started racing. It's very some of these cars get ridiculous money, $500,000 for some of these cars. You can buy these UTVs, used $10,000, come out racing with us, do a little safety upgrades, and come out here and play.
And comparatively to a 4400 class car, if you'd broken something like that on a 44 class car, the cost could be considerably higher.
But these UTVs really put up a good fight out here. The number 1911, Polly Hart, heading around the Four Wheel Parts turn 1, heading down the Steal It launch to the MBRP double down. A great little double here. Launching through there. He's really pushing hard to qualify well for tomorrow's race. So the number 1911, Polly Hart, at the Savvy Off-Road launch.
Oh, he's lifting a wheel there.
That's pushing it to the limits when you can do that little three-wheel action.
In the worn turn 3 there. Oh, it's a relatively new car. I don't think it's done much, to be honest. Either that or it's very well prepared. It's been repainted and it's very, very tidy.
The wind is blowing a little bit, but it is absolutely gorgeous here. If you're anywhere in the Reno Tahoe area, tickets still are available on site or online at the WildWestMotorsportsPark.com. So please come on out if you're anywhere in this area. It's a beautiful part of the country. Stay late. Go check out Reno Tahoe, but come watch us race here at the Wild West Motorsports Park for the 2018 Four Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship. That was the 4932 Scott Lesage taking the start. Polly Hart should be giving us a time here any second. Really pushing all the way to that Nitto finish line.
He was quite slow over the rocks there, Paulie Hart. I don't know whether he's done many rock sections before. He was definitely trying to save the car. You want a good qualifying time, but you don't really want to be breaking it and fixing it all night.
Well, Polly Hart pushed hard enough to get in that third spot for now with a 135.5. So it's still Cole Clark, pole position, 129 even. Jacob Versey with a 131. Polly Hart, 135. Travis Zollinger, 138. Kenneth Goodall, 139.7. Jim Hinnell, 139.9. Trey McKinley, 141. Justin Barth, 144. So 15 seconds are splitting our top 8 people out there. The competition is tight. We've built all season long to get to this race right here, right now. Lots of action this weekend, so please stay tuned in. Ultra4racing.com/live. Check out our Facebook, King of the Hammers. Off the line right there is the 777, Daniel Markley.
Yeah, was talking to some of the drivers last night, and it's coming down to the wire. For people that aren't familiar with Ultra 4, all of this racing is based around the King of the Hammers, and obviously it starts with King of the Hammers in the racing season, and people have been battling all year in the East Coast and the West Coast series, and it's come down to the wire now. 6 points between some cars, so it's very important that they do well in this race.
Daniel Markley's really pushing hard. You saw him there in the Amana turn 2, take a little bit of a bike, set it back down, drift it around, and really pushing hard. So great to see everybody really racing their hearts out today. So Scott Lesage bumped into 5th position as of right now with a 136.8.
Yeah, you're watching 777, Daniel Markley there on the rocks. He's just hit a big one.
Sounds like right front on Markley just broke on the Big O Dodge Rock section, so I'm sure we'll have to get some recovery up there. Tough break for him.
That was really unfortunate there. He was doing well and then just caught a bad bounce, hit quite a big rock.
And that just goes to show you how hard these rocks are on equipment, and goes back to your strategy. How hard do you want to push in qualifying to risk ruining your machine for tomorrow's race day? Most of these guys carry spares. Most of these guys have friends with spares, but you never know what you could tangle up. Speaking about braking stuff, Chase Caprera and his Can-Am was out shock tuning a couple days ago and barrel rolled it completely, tweaked the frame, broke every A-arm, every trailing arm, bent everything on the machine. They worked all day long yesterday, had Zollinger bring in extra everything up to this racetrack. They rebuilt it overnight. He will be qualifying today. So a huge shout out to the Caprera clan for getting them back on course.
I mean, that's something that is quite special about Ultra 4 as well, the camaraderie and the family of racers, how they will all club together to get people back out racing and fixing cars. When the visor's down, things are completely different, but in the pits, it's just one big family.
Yeah, the Ultra 4 family is absolutely great. I flew from Kansas City to Dallas and ended up seeing Keenan Leatherwood there. And we started chatting. I said, how are you getting to the track when you land? He's like, I got a rental car. You hop in with me. So there again, I didn't have a plan. It worked out. Ultra 4, everybody's here to help everybody.
Keenan's a lovely chap. I think he's actually part fish. But he sold his car this year. So unfortunately, he won't be racing with us. But he's co-driving for Kay Glilstrap. So there'll be a lot of experience in that car.
Don't forget to tune in November 30th on NBC Sports. We're going to debut our Journey to the Hammers. We'll start out in King of the Hammers in Johnson Valley and come through all the way through this season where we've been racing all year long. We've raced at the Stampede in Sacramento, the Ridgecrest Night Desert Race, Davis, Oklahoma, Shamokin, Pennsylvania, Bedford, Kentucky, and now we're here in Reno, Tahoe for the national championship. So that'll be debuted on NBC Sports starting November 30th, once a week. It's a great show, so please tune in for that. It's our 3rd season being on. It's really cool to see, so be sure to tune in. And again, we are here at the Wild West Motorsports Park. It's a very unique venue. It's very cool to see. You can see the entire track from the grandstand. So if you're anywhere in this area, we still have tickets available. They're available on site or online at wildwestmotorsportspark.com. Another cool thing we've added to King of the Hammers this year is on Thursday is going to be the Toyo Desert Challenge. We'll have trophy trucks out there. Scores came on board and helped us put that together. They'll be qualifying Thursday morning, racing Thursday Daytime for over $100,000 that Toyo and Monster threw on the line, and that rolls into King of the Hammers race day on Friday. Monster and Nitto have came up with another $100,000 purse for Friday as well. And we do have a couple crossover drivers. Nick Nelson, I think, is going to race. Casey Curry, I believe, is going to race. Shannon Campbell is going to race. So they're both racing Thursday and Friday for that $100,000 purse. Pretty cool to see. I'm a huge fan of racing, but desert racing, those trophy trucks, is a whole different animal, Drew.
They are amazing, aren't they? It's going to be interesting to see how they do in Johnson's Valley. Obviously, desert is desert, but and they won't be doing the rock sections that Ultra 4 do. Trophy trucks race around the mountain as fast as they can, whereas Ultra 4 will race over the mountain. So it's going to be interesting to see the difference, but an amazing spectacle. And again, if you can, everyone needs to make it out to King of the Hammers. 60,000 people overnight, nearly. It's just a city that appears in the desert.
It's an absolute blast. So, yeah, come to Johnson Valley, California here in February. Come to the King of the Hammers. But right now, this is the KMC qualifier. And remember, KMC stepped up huge this year and is reimbursing the top spot in each class. They're reimbursing their entry fee. So how cool is that to KMC to hop on board and give these guys some money back?
Is that the hard charger, Miles? That's what they're calling the hard charger.
Yep, the KMC hard charger. Hot on course now is Caprera, I believe. Yes, that's a 1941. The 1481, sorry, that is Chase Caprera and his Can-Am. Remember, I saw that thing completely disassembled yesterday in the pits. Great on Brian and Chase and his whole crew to get that Can-Am back together and on course. And he's moving pretty good, so apparently they got it dialed in, Drew.
Yeah, it was in pieces completely. I think they had quite a heavy roll. But again, it shows the function of these UTVs in the fact that you can work on them. Work on them and get them fixed overnight. This one is a Can-Am. I get confused. Apologies.
Can-Am is our sponsor for the UTV class, so that just goes to show how tough these machines really are. Off the showroom floor, a little bit of safety, come out here racing, barrel roll it, buy some more parts, and bring it back. So Chase Caprera really pushing hard all the way to that Nitto finish line. Off the line next is the 4936, John Goodall.
That's a familiar name, isn't it, Miles? He's been around a few years.
I believe he's family to Kenneth Goodall also, so they've got a lot of machines out here racing. So we should get a time for Chase Caprera here in just a minute.
And Chase will be co-driving for his dad, so again, that's a good experience to see where the lines are evolving. He can sit in with his dad in the main race and show which were the preferred lines.
So Chase Caprera with a 134 even, so that puts him in third position. So great run for Chase Caprera and his Can-Am. So John Goodall, the 4936, heading down the Big O Dodge Rock section. On the line next, 502 James Cantrell in that Mad Ram 11 UTV. He's out of Kentucky. So with lots of action on course today, we've already had a couple cars broke down. Had to get the telehandler out there, but the King of the Hammers safety crew has been on it, making sure everybody's safe and sound. We have race director JT Taylor up here with us, making sure everything's running smooth, and so far, so good. Looks like 49.36, John Goodall crossing that Nitto finish line. But on screen right now, James Cantrell. I saw him doing some clutch work this last night and this morning, getting everything dialed in.
I think he did rather well in the Kentucky race as well, didn't he? Obviously, it was local to him. That turned into quite a muddy event, I remember.
Every Ultra 4 race has its own battles of some sort, whether it's the night, the heat, the mud. But today, picture perfect. So come out to the Wild West Motorsports Park. This is the 2018 Four-Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship. Off the line there is number 90, Darian Gomez, son of Raul Gomez, part of Gomez Brothers Racing. So John Goodall with a 212. So Gomez on course, still moving good. They've got 4 cars out here. They've got 3 of the UFOs. Darian Gomez really pushing hard, trying to qualify well. This is the KMC qualifier. These guys are really racing hard. Off the line there is number 79, Casey Shear in his Can-Am. He's currently in 2nd place in national points, so this race means a lot to Casey Shear.
Casey Shear, he always puts on a good show as well, doesn't he? When he was out testing with some of the 4400 class cars, and it just shows you what these UTVs are like. The fact that they can mix it with the big chaps.
Casey Shear really pushing hard, running well. Number 79, Gigabit Off-Road in his Can-Am. He really works on that car a lot. TL sees it all the time. He data logs every single lap, goes back home, watches where the clutch is, how hot the belt got, all of that stuff. So Casey Shear, brother of our current King of the Hammers winner, Jason Shear. It's a whole family affair. Great people. So it looks like Casey Shear will be our last Can-Am UTV. So we'll see where that puts him. And then we'll give you a quick rundown on times. Casey Shear really pushing hard all the way to the end. He's in the Four-Wheel Parts Rock Garden right there that's already gobbled up a couple vehicles. Casey's looking smooth, looking fast, grabbing that checkered flag. There's the one and only Texas Jesus. And Casey Shear just bumps into 3rd place, and I missed it, but James Cantrell got the pole position, tied the pole position with a 29 even with Cole Clark, so it's going to be down to the wire. We'll have to double check that. Remember, everything Drew and I say is unofficial, but sitting on that pole position is James Cantrell tied with Cole Clark. So 3rd is Casey Shear, 4th Jacob Versey, 5th Chase Caprera, 6th Darian Gomez, 7 Paulie Hart, 8 Scott Lesage, 9 Travis Zollinger, 10 Kenneth Goodall, 11 Jim Hennell, 12 Troy McKinley, 13 Justin Barth, and 14th is John Goodall. So congrats to James Cantrell and Cole Clark. So first off the line in the 4600 Pro Comp stock class is the number 4648. That's Brian Barron. So Brian Barron is currently sitting in second position for the national points. So this race means a lot to him. He's he's just barely behind Dawson Allington. Less than 30 points split those two from first and second. So Brian Barron's really going to push hard. On course next is going to be the 46-13. That's Joshua Bocci. So these are stock vehicles. The 4600 Pro Comp stock class has a stock OEM frame, factory engine, factory transmission, a maximum of a 35-inch DOT-approved tire, single shock per corner, and mechanical steering. And a lot of these are Jeep-based. Jeep is one of our main sponsors. Great to have them on board this year. They've been a huge help. We've got our own Jeep JL here. We've got our own Jeep JK here that Dave rides around in, helps do recovery and whatnot. So Brian Barron pushes hard all the way to the finish line. So Brian Barron with a 2:22. So times are coming in. Lots of action on course. Joshua Bocci on course. Off the line next is going to be the 46-16 of Nathan Creer. So lots of action will be out here today, but we are hot and heavy in the KMC qualifier right now. Remember, they've stepped up all season and will reimburse that top position their entry fee back. So huge shout out to KMC for helping these guys out. Off the line, 46-16, Nathan Creer. It is a absolutely beautiful weekend of racing here at the Wild West Motorsports Park for the 2018 Four Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship. Goes down tomorrow. We have been racing all season long for this. So I just had to get my numbers correct, but 1/10 of a second, James Cantrell does get the KMC hard charge reward. So great job, James Cantrell, for pulling that off.
So these are the 4600 Pro Comp stock class. So these are basically stock vehicles. As Miles said, safety equipment, racing seat, racing harness, door nets. But they have to have an OEM frame, the factory engine, the factory transmission. They're limited to 35-inch DOT tyres and one shock absorber per corner. Also key, has to have mechanical steering. Now, as you can imagine, going over those rocks with your factory steering is a lot to ask of it. But again, a very cheap entry into Ultra 4 racing. One thing I would say for the people that aren't familiar with Ultra 4 racing is there's lots of different types of off-road motorsport. But what Ultra 4 does is try and mix everything together, culminate everything together, and so we're looking at what have been described as the real Swiss Army knives of off-road racing. They could do almost anything that you ask of them.
So Bill Schultz just takes off. We're having a lot of fun. Thanks, Drew. You're doing a great job today. And you're from Europe. I just had a buddy text in. He's in the Army. He's over in Kuwait. So we are all over the world broadcasting. Where exactly are you from? Do you have buddies back home watching?
Oh, I bet Jim Marsden's watching in Croatia. I must be very kind to him. He's a good mate of mine. I've known him for 25 years. He's considerably faster than me and has a much bigger trophy shelf than me. But yeah, we race all over Europe, France, Poland, Portugal, Spain. There's a new race that's coming up. The format is exactly the same. The regs are exactly the same. Mr. Taylor comes over and techs our cars. So theoretically, you could take in any car from all over the world. It's a true global scene now, and race it in any of the other races. And in fact, we're sending 8 cars from Europe into King of the Hammers. So there'll be a big European contingent there. Be interesting to see how they get on in some of California's rocks. But a lot of them have experienced it before and have been before, so it's going to be good.
So 46.55, that's Bill Schultz. You see coming down the rock section. The KMC qualifier clock on screen with the 46.77, Christopher D'Oria. That is the unofficial KMC qualifier clock. It's pretty cool to see, give you guys back at home to see how fast these guys are pushing, but it looks like it's still Joshua Bocci with a 209, Nathan Creer with a 220, Brian Barron with a 222. We got a lot of numbers trying to keep up, so I do apologize. I'll mix some of these up, I'm sure. But Straight Jacket Racing, 46.77. Christopher Doria on screen in his Jeep Cherokee. Again, what an absolute beaut of a day we're having here in Reno, Tahoe. It is the KMC qualifier right now, getting everything set up for tomorrow's 2018 Four-Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship.
Yeah, I'm getting messages, Miles, as well. Did you know you were famous in Europe?
Infamous or famous, whatever.
Famous, mate, famous.
I thoroughly enjoy what I do. I get to come out here and play with all these guys. So thanks for everybody playing along with us. We have a great time. So 46.71, Sean Gill waiting for that green flag. Has Christopher Doria. Got a great aerial view of him from one of our line drones. Like I said, we have over 10 cameras on course checking everything out.
So one thing that's interesting to watch is a comparison between these cars as they come down that rock section there. The difference in suspension, the difference in design. These are obviously beam axles, solid axle cars. So you'll see how that moves over the rocks and undulates. And then you've got the IFS cars, which float a lot better. They're a lot kinder on the car, a lot kinder on the driver, sorry. But arguably not as good in the rocks. But it's interesting to see how much the car moves. And just remember that in King of the Hammers, these drivers are in there for 7 hours if you're good, 12 hours if you're not. And it's like being in a 12-hour car accident.
So Christopher Doria with a 239. Up next, out of Compton, California, the 46.05. Albert Contreras. He's made every single race this season, so a huge shout out to him, his family, his team, Jeep Thrills, run those Fury off-road tires. Albert Contreras getting ready to take off.
So as I said, stock cars, stock class, 4600 Pro Comp stock class. So yeah, when you're looking at your old Jeep on the drive, just imagine for not a huge amount of money you could come out and do this. I, obviously I race in Europe, and I can't express how much fun it is and how much the family means to everyone. It's something that's a pleasure to be part of, as Miles was saying.
And we keep saying this is the championship, and what that consists of is the most points after King of the Hammers, 3 of your choice of regional races, and right here for the national championship. So a total of 5 races. All your points come down, and we'll have our banquet tomorrow evening at the Golden Nugget. It's a good time to see. And again, thank you everybody back home all over the world for tuning in. Ultra4racing.com/live, or hit us up on the King of the Hammers Facebook. Off the line, Albert Contreras. Well, Drew, I'm having a great time. Everything's going smooth. The recovery team is really doing a great time. The KMC qualifier is proving to be a lot of fun.
It's definitely a shout out for the recovery crews. It's not easy to clear cars that quickly when they're stuck in positions that obviously they're broken down in. So it's an amazing job to those.
Albert Contreras really pushing hard. I swung through his pits last night, and he had the fuel neck off his gas tank. He was having some fuel delivery issues. He checked it out, had some funk in his fuel filter, got it cleaned out, put everything back together, and Albert Contreras really pushing hard, heading towards that KMC hard charger. I believe he's currently sitting in 4th position, so tomorrow means a lot to that guy trying to make that podium. Lots of action on course. We have 2 cars at a time. Contreras pushing hard all the way to that finish line, heading through the 4 Wheel Parts Rock Garden. $46.79. That's Daniel May Applegate and his Jeep Cherokee. Gear Monkey Racing. Getting lined up now is the 46.54. That's David Ball. We had a lot of fun with him at the Ridgecrest race. He was in the pits. I crawled under there, had a good chat with him. He was working on everything. That was a fun race.
Am I right in thinking that's quite an old veteran of a car? That's Bailey Cole's old car. I remember seeing that getting driven over here at one point on these on this rock garden. That's definitely got some miles under its belt. But a stock Toyota, we call them a Hilux. I don't know what you call it.
Toyota 4Runner is what he's driving, and Albert Contreras just gets a time of a 1:51.5.
So Daniel May Applegate there, the Gear Monkey Racing coming down this rock slope. They're all choosing different lines there. Wow, wow. Yeah, he gave it a little bit there at the bottom there, but he's coming into the final rocks now.
So I believe we got a lot of numbers out there, but Albert Contreras may be on the KMC hard charger pole position with that 151.5.
So there's David Ball going up that big slope there towards the King Hill.
So Daniel Applegate with a time of 2:24.4. Christopher Doria with a 2:39. Brian Barron with a 2:22. Nathan Creer with a 2:20. Joshua Bocci with a 2:09. Bill Schultz with a 2:04. And our KMC pole position setter as of right now, Albert Contreras with a 151.5.
46.95. Dawson Allington off the start there. Went to talk to him last night. He's only a young chap, did King of the Hammers this year. Definitely got a taste for it. It's in his blood now. So let's interesting to see how he does. I'm pretty sure he's winning the championship at the minute. So he's looking at the points. He has to do well in this. Otherwise, Brian Benren will be able to overtake him. So still all to play for.
Dawson Allington pushing hard, completely drifting through the Amada turn 2. He's got his dad riding shotgun with him. I was just talking to JT, and we came in very hot. We were both expecting him to bicycle, but he drifted out and pushed through. Dawson Allington really putting on a good run. We'll see if he can bump off Albert Contreras off that KMC pole position. And again, huge shout out, KMC. They will reimburse each class the pole position, their entry fee.
That takes some skill for a young chap there. He's obviously sensed that the car was nearly going over, and instead of steering out of it, he gave it some gas and drifted the back end round. So this is one chap to definitely watch. I imagine as this Ultra 4 racing gets in his blood, we'll see a progression into the next classes, the upper classes with him. But again, it's basically a stock Jeep. He said he had a lay down in Ridgecrest and put it on its side, but really enjoyed Ridgecrest and the night section, which is something that's relatively new to Ultra 4 in America. We do tend to do a night section in Europe if we can, but it gives it another dynamic.
And off the line, we just saw the 46.96 Sean McNamara crossing the line. Dawson Allington will get his time. Just falls short of Albert Contreras. So second place, Dawson Allington with a 156.8. So it's still Albert Contreras, I believe. But we still have Sean McNamara, see if he can bump off Albert Contreras. But so far, it's been a great day of qualifying for the 2018 Four-Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship. This is the KMC qualifier. It's been a lot of fun. The weather is absolutely perfect here in Reno, Tahoe. So if you're anywhere in the area, we still have tickets available on site and online. WildWestMotorsportsPark.com. And if you're here on site, Daddy's Food, they've been feeding us all weekend. So a huge shout out to those guys. Hot food, cold drinks.
The breakfast burrito is to die for, isn't it? That's definitely a staple of Ultra 4.
Yeah, they're absolutely great. And don't forget, Roxy's on site with hoodies and merchandise available.
Come buy all the things.
So the 4600 Pro Comp stock class, we just are watching right now, relatively new, is Dawson Allington and his baby Jeep. He's currently sitting in the lead, just barely over Brian Barron in his Cherokee. So you're going to want to watch this one. We just saw Allington and Contreras really push hard. Sean McNamara is going to get a time of 158.0, so he's sitting in that third pole position for the KMC qualifier. Remember, everything we do say is unofficial, but it looks like it's going to be Albert Contreras in that KMC hard charger. And in the 4900 Can-Am class is James Cantrell, so huge shout out to those guys. So up next is going to be the 4800 G2 Legends class. These are a lot of old retired Ultra 4s. Has to have a front engine. Vehicle must contain 2 seats side by side. Single shock per corner. A maximum of 37-inch DOT tire and solid axles only. So thank you, everybody tuning in all over the world. Ultra4Racing.com/live. Hit up the King of the Hammers Facebook. Hit up the Ultra 4 Instagram. Off next will be the 4800 G2 Legends class. Points leader Casey Gilbert has more than a 100-point lead over Brad Level. Casey has literally had a perfect season in the 4800 G2 Legends class. He had a little bit of bad luck entering the 4400 class in Kentucky. Ended up a high lift jack, bonked his noggin a little bit, so he had to drop out, but he's back here racing. So will he be able to pull off a perfect season? Time will tell.
Yeah, I talked to him about that last night. He was sort of very upset about, not very upset, but was explaining what he'd done with the high lift jack, and they are very, very good tools, but you in the wrong hands or in a racing situation, and he admitted he made a bit of a mistake and paid for it with a spell in hospital, but he's fine now. So as Miles said, these are 4800 class, designed really for cars that are older than the 4400 class cars that aren't as competitive now as the 4400 class, but are still, competitive in their own class. Cars are being built new to this specification, but originally it was designed as a class for the older cars, the older 4400 class cars. Again, you'll see some of the 4400 drivers actually driving in the 48 class as well. The racing is usually the day before on King of the Hammers, so they get to pre-run at speed and choose different lines, get a good look at the course, ready for the big race.
And on the line first is going to be Cade Rod. He's physically in fourth position in national points right now, so this race is going to mean a lot. Casey Gilbert first, Brad Level second, Jade and Kyle Wickham third, Cade Rod fourth. Fifth place is David Hartman. Sixth, Rick Levezzo. Seventh, Jody Ford. Eighth, Bob Wimmer. Ninth, Dustin Sexton. And 10th, Mike DeVore. So the 4800 G2 Legends class will be kicking off their KMC qualifier here very shortly. There's a lot of fast drivers in here.
Has Cade Rod got his wristbands on? There was a bit of a story where he really wanted to win, and he kept all his wristbands on until he won a race, and then he cut them off. But it was a bit premature, I think, wasn't it, Miles? And there was a recount on the scores.
A little mix up on some situations. So Shannon mailed him a bunch of bracelets. He put them back on, and he's ready. And then he cut them back off. He was tired of carrying that baggage. He said, coming into Nationals, he wants a fresh start, and he's going to push to be out front.
Yeah, as Miles says, everything we say is unofficial. It has to go through the timing computer and any course issues added.
So on course 4807, Cade Rod, part of Jimmy's Army. We've got Randy Rod here. I'm sure Cotton Rod's back home watching. They've been part of the Ultra 4 from the beginning. Jimmy's 4x4 has a lot of cars out here. They've came in full force. Cade Rod really pushing hard. He's going to be coming hard into Amada corner. Keeps her down, completely drifts around. Cade Rod's really driving the wheels off that Jimmy's chassis. Pushing those Nitto tires to the limit.
So the G2 Legends class, it can have a space frame, engine in the front, one shock absorber per corner, 37-inch DOT tires.
And it has to have a solid front axle.
Solid axles, yeah.
So Cade Rod coming down the Big O Dodge Rock section, really having a great run. We'll get to see his time, but boy, he's really, really pushing good. So on course next, another Team Jimmy's Army, 4874, David Hartman. This is his rookie season, and he's doing very well. He's currently in 5th position in points, but this is racing. Anything can happen. Another Nitto-sponsored driver. David Hartman really pushing hard, trying to qualify well. So Cade Rod with a time of 127 even. That's a great, great run. It's going to be a hard time to beat.
Definitely, Miles. That's a hard time there. It's going to be interesting to see how it pans out.
And like I said, I was lucky enough to ride with Eric Miller this morning, and these rock sections are pretty brutal. On camera, they just look like no big deal, but when you're riding in there, it really takes its toll on your person and your vehicle. Off next, 232 AMSOIL sponsored driver, Brad Lovell. He's been racing with us since the very beginning. Had a great chat with him last night. It was actually his birthday, so happy birthday, Brad Lovell. He's going to try to get into the 6100 desert racing. Just sold his Pro 2, but he's going to be doing some desert racing. Still race with us here in Ultra 4. He's just going to dabble in a little bit of everything. He's got his boys in a UTV now, so Brad Lovell really has a lot of fun off-road.
I'm all right in thinking, Miles, that's one of the oldest cars here. That's done a fair amount, hasn't it?
It's raced King of the Hammers multiple times. It started out as a 4400 class car and dropped down to that G2 Legends class. And JT Taylor just said he missed winning King of the Hammers a few years back by 26 seconds. He finishes almost every year. Brad Lovell is a contender everywhere he goes.
A lot of experience in that car.
And he's bouncing down hard, taking that left line, and that's, I don't think, the line I would take, but he's really bouncing down, making some good time. Off next, the 4822. That's Todd McCullen. Remember, this is the KMC qualifier. The hard charger.
There's Brad Lovell across the finish line. Drifting the back end out, going over the Savvy tabletop.
So Brad Lovell with a time of 128.8, just under 2 seconds behind Cade Rod. These guys are pushing hard and just shows you how competitive these guys really drive.
See, there's a good analogy there where you've got Cade Rod, young chap, in a Jimmy's car, which is really strong, really fast. Got Brad Lovell in an older car, older technology, much more experience. So Cade Rod's put one over on him there in the qualifying, but in the longer race, I think I know who I would have my money on.
So 48.68, that's Scott Morse. Picture to pictures, also Todd McCullen on course, heading towards that Nitto start finish line. Todd McCullen should have his time here very shortly. So Scott Morse, does he lose it? No, he drifted out, caught some traction, but kept going. Scott Morse pushing hard. So I believe up next is the 4437 Dustin Sexton. I believe that's a Trent Fab chassis. So we just got another time in for David Hartman, 130.7. So that bumps him into third place.
Scott Morse on that left-hand line there, sorry, right-hand line. Left as I look at it, rounds the corner into the rock garden. Let's see where he goes. Now, historically, this left-hand line was was better, apparently, but when I had the pleasure to run with Al, we went on the right-hand line. There's some big rocks at the start of it, but then it levels out. So again, it's going to be interesting to see in the main race when there's, whoa.
So Dustin Sexton gets a little slideways there, bumps the K-rail, but keeps her going, just loses a couple seconds. Another crowd favorite pulling up right now, Captain Rob Flandro, sorry. He's a lot of fun to watch, a great character in the sport.
I think anyone that has a Mohican on their car is a character.
Yeah, I was chatting with him last night in the hotel, and he was having a lot of fun, really pumped up for next season. He's really wanting to do well today to carry his momentum into the King of the Hammers.
There's not many cars on Yokohama tires.
There's starting to be a few. We have Jordan Pellegrino.
Again, as a manufacturer that has seen Ultra 4 and thought, that's a good marketplace, that's a good testing arena for their product. Obviously, these are DOT tyres, so these are tyres that you could buy and use on the road. So if it can survive this, if it does this, then it's going to be all right on your truck.
So a quick rundown on times. In that KMC hard charger position still is Cade Rod with a 127. Brad Level with a 128. David Hartman with a 130. Todd McCollum with a 135. Scott Morris with a 137. And Dustin Sexton, after his little hiccup, still pulls down a 145. We have over 130 teams here on site racing with us this weekend. It's a great turnout for this year's 2018 Four-Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship just outside of Reno, Nevada, here at the Wild West Motorsports Park. So thank you everybody back home and here on site for tuning in. Ultra4racing.com/live. Hit up our King of the Hammers Facebook, our Ultra4 Instagram. Share, hashtag, all that good stuff. This helps us grow the sport. So thank you for everybody back home for staying involved and staying tuned in. We really appreciate it. Again, November 30th on NBC Sports, we will start our first episode of this season's Journey to the Hammers. We're very excited about this season. We've pulled a few more stops out. It's going to be a lot of fun. So on course now is the 223 Shane Smith. I believe he's the one that has been racing in Bailey Cole's old spec car, so it's great to see him get his car back together.
We spoke about that because that car's obviously been in Europe, and he sent me a message and asked what it had done in Europe. It was featured in Top Gear, where he did a 146 around the Top Gear track. He also won King of Britain in it, so definitely a strong car. Those spec cars have taken some abuse over the years.
And that one won King of France, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Robbie Flandro just rolled a 140.
So he beat Jim then. He must have beat Jim in France. Spec class car. Just putting that out there.
We got a lot of help up here. We have Shannon Welch feeding us information. We have Richard Crossland, JT Taylor, myself, Miles Hasquist, alongside Drew Wright. We're having a lot of fun this weekend. Thank you again for staying tuned in. Off the line now, the 4840. That's Dennis Lapp taking off for his KMC qualifying run.
So check out ultra4.com as well for next year's dates. Full season of dates all over America, all over Europe.
Up in Canada, down in Mexico, Ultra 4 is really putting its mark on this map. And it's all because of you guys back at home and all our sponsors. So again, we can't thank enough for everybody supporting Ultra 4 racing.
Ultra 4 classes in some of the Mexican races now. So really making a mark in the off-road racing community in the fact that they can do everything. These aren't as fast as a trophy truck, but they can do almost anything you put in front of them.
So up next, the 4832. That's Chance Holloman. I believe that's Jason Shear's old car. Great to see these cars kind of get handed around. That just goes to show how well built these vehicles really are. All the safety, all the that goes into these cars, they really put up with the abuse well.
They don't go for much money. Funnily enough, there's not a great cost on some of these cars when you see what abuse they've been through.
And it sounds like Chase Holloman's missing on a cylinder or two, so hopefully it can clear out. So another Jimmy's Army chassis, the 4840. Dennis Lapp crossing. We should be getting a time on him very soon. And there it is. He just bumps into third position with that'd be fourth position with a 132.8, just behind David Hartman. We got a Trent Fab car pulling up, the 4837 of Jeremy Jones. We've got a lot of manufacturers out there. We have Campbell Enterprises, Miller Motorsports, Trent Fab, Jimmy's Army, Jimmy's 4x4. There's a lot of cars out here. It's great to see how well these guys do in our sport.
Say Miller there. Definitely.
Absolutely. He's got, I believe, 5 cars racing here today, or this weekend. And Miller Motorsports and Campbell Enterprises are tied for the Fab School Manufacturers Cup right now. So this weekend, it'll be down to the wire, down to short course. It's going to be fun to see how that plays out as well.
I think there's a couple of Miller's cars being built in Europe. Definitely Felipe in Portugal is definitely building a Miller.
And I was just talking to Chad Hunt last night. He was getting a quote from Eric sitting there at the hotel bar, and they were trying to hash some things out. So Chad Hunt may be upgrading to a Miller chassis as well. So Jeremy Jones heading out for his KMC qualifier, launching down the steel at launch, hitting the MBRP double down. Heading into Armada Turn 2, getting ready to hit the Savvy tabletop. Right there with the America flag waving in the wind.
He did that Armada turn just about perfect there.
I love it. They bring that all the way to the rev limiter, bump a gear, and that's a long, straight uphill go, and they really are showing off their horsepower. That Trip Fab chassis heading down the Big O Dodge Rock section. He chooses that left line as well, which I feel is a little rougher, but they've been out there pre-running, and it's wide open. But look at that guy bouncing down. That live drone gives you guys such great coverage on how rough it really is out there.
Just try and put yourself in that car and imagine what that is like. I mean, they have full harnesses on, neck braces as well, but it's still a rough ride.
So off the line, the 4879 William Malcolmson. I love this picture-in-picture we have on screen. Be able to see them crossing the Nitto finish line, and 4879 William Malcolmson getting ready to hit the MBRP double down. Getting ready to set up for the Armada Turn 2. That is another Jimmy's chassis, KMC wheels. Nitto sponsored machine. And a huge shout out to Hammer King Productions. They're doing a great job bringing you all this live action. Drew and myself have the easy part of just chatting with you guys. These guys have been out here since Tuesday getting all their infrastructure put in place. We have cameras way up on the mountain. So a huge shout out. It takes an army to put this on, and we've got the best team out there.
Obviously, I've never done this before. I've done Ultra 4 for 5-6 years now, but I had no idea how much technology and how many people and how difficult putting this live stuff together is. Cameras everywhere, camera operators. It's an amazing task and really professional, I must say.
I can barely get a text to send out sometimes, and these guys are running a full production and sending this to you guys back home. So we'll get off that horse just a tick, but these guys are having a lot of fun. This is the KMC qualifier, getting everything set up for tomorrow's big race. It is the 2018 Four-Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship. We're just outside of Reno, Tahoe. here at the Wild West Motorsports Park. If you're anywhere in this area within a short drive, the weather is picture perfect. Come on out. There are still tickets available on site or online.
Just off the I-80, Miles.
Here at the WildWestMotorsportsPark.com. Yeah, we're just off of I-80, so swing on through. It's a perfect venue. It's the most spectator-friendly event we have.
King of the Hammers is awesome, but obviously you see the cars disappear into Johnson's Valley and come back a couple of hours later looking really beaten up and really battered, whereas with this Reno, it's a real sort of amphitheatre, a real sort of Roman almost sort of bowl shape where you can see the cars all the time. It's an amazing venue.
So off the line, 48-64 of Bob Wimmer takes the green flag, as we have 48-21 of Keith Ratsburg getting ready to cross that Nitto start-finish.
That's definitely an older car, Miles. I think that would have been a four-seater trail buggy at one point.
So Bob Wimmer and another Miller chassis out on course. And we have our current national points leader, 618 Casey Gilbert. Like we were talking earlier, he has a perfect season. He has not lost a race yet. We'll see if he can keep that going. He's running the Pack Springs, the Nitto tires, the Miller Motorsports chassis, and that guy can almost keep up with most of the 4,400 guys.
Definitely.
Casey Gilbert can drive.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he entered the 4,400 class race, didn't he, in Kentucky? And that's when he had his incident with the high-lift jack. Great ambassador for the 4,800 class. He's in a group that we're in, representing the 4,800. He's always there to answer questions and really does represent the 4,800 class.
He names that car Larry. And if you guys follow him on the Facebook and the Instagram, you saw he had a long haul out here. He had wheel and tire issues on his trailer, stopped multiple times. So tough luck to get here, but he made it. Casey Gilbert, hot on course. That guy is absolutely screaming up the hill, heading into four-wheel parts, turn one. Getting ready to hit the Steel It launch. And that, I was riding with Eric this morning, that Steel It launch jump is extremely sketchy. You're jumping into a blind jump. So you launch and land without being able to see everything.
Yeah, you're in the air for the next takeoff. When I got to run with Matt, he was obviously in the process of setting up his shocks. We got a fair amount of verticalness, which worried me more than him.
Boy, with the time Casey Gilbert's throwing down, he may have maybe given Cade Rod a run for his money. Casey Gilbert really pushing hard all the way to that finish line.
He's taking your line there, Miles.
Smooth is fast. Fast is smooth. Really pushing hard. Casey Gilbert laying it all on the line. If he doesn't get that pole position, I'll be extremely surprised. I'm going to guess him at that 125 mark. Absolutely skipping through the four-wheel parts rock section. Casey Gilbert gets the checkered flag. And does he bump out Cade Rod? He does with a 122 even, over 5 seconds ahead of Cade Rod. So Casey Gilbert gets that KMC hard charger spot away from Cade Rod. So the top three, Casey Gilbert, Cade Rod, Brad Lovell, David Hartman, and Dennis Labb running out that top five. Up next, we have the 4883. I believe that's Wade Coleman in his Trent Fab buggy.
You're watching Chris Brown in the 58 number car. That's a great shot from the drone there. I wish we could have held that shot just a little bit longer to give you the drone perspective downhill, down those rocks. So going downhill is arguably scary enough, and then they put massive rocks in the way.
We go back to that picture-in-picture. Great, great scene. We got the 48-58, Chris Brown, and the 48-83, Wade Coleman, patiently awaiting. Green flag goes. Wade Coleman takes off. And that Trent Fab buggy.
They make a good buggy, don't they, the Trent Fab cars?
Trent Fab has a lot of great cars. We see Bailey Cole racing one. We see Dave Cole race down in Mexico in his Trent Fab machine. Great to see so many manufacturers really stepping up and making their own footprint in the Ultra 4 world.
Tribe, obviously Tribe 16. There's a lot of cars that are Tribe 16 cars in the 4400 class. Obviously Matt Howes as well.
Matt Howell in his Tribe 16 machine is leading the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class in the national points. Looks like we definitely have a few more cars in the 4800 G2 Legends class to go.
And a great job of water in the course as well. The dust is under control. Obviously the wind helps with that. Qualifying, it's not going to make that much difference because the cars are spaced out, so you're not really in anyone's dust. But just imagine doing this when you can't see in front of you because of the dust, and you've got to keep it pinned on the gas to get the best momentum over those rocks, and yet you can't see where you're going.
So the grandstands are filling up, but please come on out. We still have quite a bit of qualifying to go today, as well as tomorrow's big race. So if you're anywhere in the area, come on out. This is the 2018 Four Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship just outside of Reno, Tahoe, here at the Wild West Motorsports Park. It's a full house. The spectators absolutely love coming here. I love coming here. It's so much fun to watch. This is the easiest course to see in our season. So if you're anywhere near, come on out. We've got over 130 registered drivers in this weekend's race. And if you're here on site, Daddy's Food's been cooking up food for us all weekend long. Check them out. Roxy's on scene with merchandise. 312, that's Eric Brinker taking off.
It's interesting to see Matt and staging the cars and setting the cars up. Brian Trotter down there as well, doing a great job. Takes some courage to walk in front of a 500 brake horsepower, massive tired car to stand and stop it, but I don't think anyone would really want to run over Brian Trotter.
I think you'd know it.
Yeah, he'd get up and throw the car at you.
And you're here in that 500 mark. When we get into that 4400 class, there's a few guys pushing over 1,000 horsepower. So be sure to stay tuned in. The 4400 class is, I'd say another 45 minutes away, but do not miss it. Tune in, ultra4racing.com/live. Tune into our Facebook, King of the Hammers. Hit up the Ultra 4 Instagram, use the hashtags. Again, I'm Miles Hasquist alongside Drew Wright. It's going to be a great time of racing. We have Scott Rain filling in with us as well. It's going to be a lot of fun this weekend. This is our last race of the season. We'll have our Nationals banquet tomorrow night after the racing is over. Looks like number 312, Eric Brinker, crosses the finish line.
It's going to be really interesting to see this race, how it pans out, as I said, because there's so many people that are very close in the points, and it's all down to the wire. So I hope we can convey that in such a way. But you've got your Jimmy Jack and your Matt Howell, they're very close to each other. So let's hope we can do it justice and get you those little stories, those little anecdotes that make all the difference.
So on screen right now, we have the 48.95 of Jacob Peak. And we just saw Eric Brinker throw down a smoking fast run, bumping out Cade Rod. Second fastest in the G2 Legends class, Eric Brinker with a 125.2. Great, great run.
So there's another spec class, old spec class car on the start line there.
That's 48.98 Arturo Soria. He just picked up that car. He drove, I believe, halfway across the country to get it some 30-something hours. Gets it home, does a little check, and brings it out here to race with us. So great job, Arturo Soria, for stepping up. That car's really jumping smooth. He's got very little seat time. Again, he just picked this car up last weekend, so Arturo is really driving the wheels off it.
He's dialed in quite well as well. He went over that sunny tabletop.
So on screen, Arturo heading up that long uphill straightaway, patiently awaiting on the lines the 48.23. I believe that's Kyle and Jade Wickham. Yes, it is. They're currently sitting in third position in national points. They're in a Jimmy's chassis. And next year, I just heard from JT Taylor, they're stepping up to the 4400 class. They're going to get an IFS car. So that car is going to be there. That group, those two brothers are a lot of fun to watch. So they should be getting the green flag. There they go. Kyle and Jade Wickham taking off.
Another Jimmy's Fab car there. I think that's got some miles under its belt as well. I remember seeing that at Hammers for a few years now.
So here comes Arturo Soria crossing the Nitto start finish. We'll get a time on him. Mid-pack with a 139.9. Puts him in roughly 12th position. Great run for him. I was talking to individually Eric Miller and Lauren Healy. I was talking strategy on how hard to push. They don't need that pole position. They want to be about that top 10. So strategy plays heavy in today's KMC qualifier.
Obviously no pit stops in this race. I think there is a little bit of a pit though where they can have a tyre change basically in the main race, but that's also part of the strategy.
We've had so much action here. It's been a lot of fun. We are here at Reno Tahoe. Look up the screen. There's so much beautiful landscape out there. There's Lake Tahoe there. It's the biggest little city in the world. It's got some of the coolness out there. It's the epic Burning Man in Black Rock Desert. It's larger than life murals. Artwork can be seen everywhere around town. It's a majestic Sierra Nevada. It has the high desert, the majestic mountains, the rivers take into the lakes. Reno was recently recognized as one of the 10th sunniest cities in the U.S., and it's proving it this weekend. Absolutely gorgeous out here. So, again, if you're in the area for this race, check out Reno Tahoe.
The second deepest lake in the world, Miles. Don't know where I picked that up from, but I'm looking forward to going there. Crystal clear water. So definitely worth coming out, checking out the Nationals, and then spending a bit of time in Lake Tahoe.
So on screens, the 4894 Rick Levezzo. He's teamed up with Jimmy Jack this year. He's an older guy, but it's his rookie season, and he's really fitting in well here. It's a lot of fun to watch. He's in an old, we've been talking about chassis. That's an old Bomber chassis. That's one of those that was over in China a few years back racing. He's got another car getting built by Get Bent Fabrication, another manufacturer, but Rick Levezzo really putting his mark on his rookie season. Great to see him out here racing. He's had a lot of fun. Part of Jack Racing. They've got one of the coolest trailers in the pits. I'm sure you've seen it.
I was just about to say that. It's unbelievable. The coolest thing you've ever seen as far as a trailer's concerned. All wrapped. Very nice. So the next car on the start is Richard Fenton. 4852.
So that's Richard Fenton, the 4852, taking off. And getting ready to head towards that Nitto start finish is Rick Levezzo pushing hard all the way to the finish line. Rick Levezzo with a great time, putting him in 9th position with a 132.7. So Rick Levezzo had a great run in that Bomber chassis. So Richard Fenton, I believe, will be our last G2 Legends class car out on course.
So we got one Pro Comp stock class squeezed in now, 46.93. He must have had a couple of teething issues, didn't make the start for his qualifying session, but it doesn't matter, we can fit him in. So he's next on the start. Just looking at the 48.52, just got a bit of a bad bounce there, slowed him up a bit.
So he is our 23rd Legends class on course. The 46.93. $46.93, that's Josh Atterbury in Cracker Fab in his Jeep Cherokee. He missed his qualifying run earlier, had some issues in the pits, but he made JT Taylor aware of it, and so he was okay to come in and run late. So up next, we're going to be running the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class. Has to have somewhat of an OEM chassis. You can have 2.5-inch shocks, one per corner, mechanical steering, and a 37-inch maximum DOT-approved tire. Up first is going to be a crossover driver. You know this name very well. It's Von Gittin Jr. in Brocky. You can buy that car at Walmart and let your kids play with it. Pretty cool to see that Nitto-sponsored driver coming over. You see him a lot driving his Ford Mustang, doing all the drifting. He's a professional driver in his sport. Comes over here and plays with the Ultra 4. It's been a lot of fun to watch. Number 25, Von Gittin Jr.
I think I'm right in saying, Miles, that's going up into 4400 class next year. IFS, but still got a mechanical link because he's got a rack and pinion. So, but he's so competitive and obviously a professional driver, so he can enter 4400 classes.
So Josh Atterbury in his 4600 Pro Comp stock class Jeep Cherokee runs a 59.4. Richard Fenton had a 209, so it looks like our KMC hard charger for the 4800 G2 Legends class does go to Casey Gilbert. He'll get his entry fee reimbursed. Great run for those guys.
So Vaughn Gittins Jr. on the start. Had a big crash at King of the Hammers. Co-driver ended up getting airlifted. Vaughn was saved by a new style seat, a prototype seat, which made the difference. I think he only managed to get it to race mile 7 or something, and had to lay down at speed.
So first on course, Vaughn Gittins Jr. in Brocky. Again, he's a heavily sponsored Nitto driver. He is a professional drifter as his day job, comes over here and plays with us. He let his co-driver Eric race in Kentucky, did quite well. So we'll see, but I think the story of the day is going to be Matt Howell and Jimmy Jack battling out for this national championship. There's just 32 points breaking up those two guys. So off the line next, the number 4533, that's Jesse Balter.
Yeah, I spent a bit of time with Matt and Jimmy Jack and talking to them about their championship, and it's very close for them. They both want it really bad, but to the same extent, they're very good friends. King of the Hammers this year, they were working as a team almost. They come across each other upside down, and so they'd write each other's car and were really working together as a team. But then still, you know, when that visor comes down, they're very competitive. I know Matt has been looking at the times and has worked out every single possibility as far as where he needs to finish. And I know that Jimmy Jack really wants that red background for his car next year. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out.
So Vaughn Gittins' time was a 124.6, so a great run by Vaughn Gittins Jr.
That's going to be hard to beat.
He's in another Jimmy's chassis.
It's almost too good to race, that car. It's a gorgeous piece of engineering.
And just like you were saying earlier, that car is going to be bumped up to the 4400 class. They're trying to figure out what to go, but I was talking to Randy Rod yesterday, and they're probably going to back half that car. So 45.33, Jesse Balter should have a pretty decent time. I'm going to say that 135. Nope, it's a 133.3, so great run for Jesse Balter. 45.83 is Chuck Crossland on course, pushing hard for this KMC qualifying run. In the 4900 class, it was James Cantrell. In the 4600 Pro Comp stock class was Albert Contreras. In the 4800 G2 Legends class was Casey Gilbert.
That's a good advert for the Miller Fab car. I think with the Miller car is that he's just improved on the standard, really. The first car, the first prototype, I think it was the second prototype he won King of the Hammers with, and then they've just made it stronger and improved it more, and it's now obviously a very competitive chassis.
So on screen, Chuck Crossland heading down the Big O Dodge Rock section. On course, taking off the 45.31. Sean Rance Sr. He's currently sitting in 4th place in the national points, so tomorrow means a lot to that guy. And leading into the nationals, kind of the story of the week for the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class is Matt Howell and Jimmy Jack. They have chased each other all over the country. Less than 32 points separates these guys. Jimmy wants to beat Matt bad, but Jimmy has to get in front of Matt by 3 places, I believe. So it's going to really come down to the wire between Matt Howell and Jimmy Jack. Speaking of Matt Howell, Tribe 16 with Adam Shear spotting for him. The 45-10, Matt Howell getting lined up.
Adam Shear, obviously the owner of Tribe 16, builds a lot of the cars. What a great co-pilot to have in the car with him, the man that's actually made the chassis, made the frame, but now he's spotting for him.
And you bring up a great point. Shannon Campbell, Cannibal Enterprises, Eric Miller, Miller Motorsports, Randy Slauson, Bomber Chassis. I mean, a lot of our King of the Hammers winners are builders themselves, so it really shows what they put in. So 45-31 coming across the line, Sean Rance Sr. with a time of 1:34.2. Chuck Crossland had a 1:52.7. Matt Howell really pushing hard up that Savvy launch tabletop.
The course has dried out a bit as well, Miles. He's not able to drift it as much as he did in practice.
I assume we'll see some bicycles in the big class. They're going to be pushing hard for the KMC Hard Charger Award.
Shall we put money on Shannon putting it on 2 wheels? He did it quite spectacularly at Ridgecrest and saved it, didn't he?
Shannon's already gone, remember?
Oh yeah, of course, Shannon's already gone. So if he's going to do that, it'll be in the main race. I think Matt is playing it safe here. I think he's pushing, but he doesn't want to break that car. He's seeing the longer goal, which is to stay. How many was it? 3 or 6 positions in front of Jimmy Jack.
Matt Howell really bouncing through that 4-wheel parts rock garden. We'll see if he can bump out Von Gitten's time. I doubt it. I think he's going to be at that mid-130s. Matt Howell with a time of 1:39, so that currently sits him in 4th position. A little off pace, but the car still looks like it's in great shape. And remember, everything Drew and I say is unofficial, and if I remember right, Shannon Campbell's time earlier was right around that 1:20 mark, which is still the fastest time of the day, which rightfully should be, because he is the only three-time King of the Hammers winner. So we'll see if that time can get bumped out. I guess a 1:15. I don't know if we'll see that, but we still have a lot of fast guys to go in that 4,400 class.
While we're talking about Shannon, one of the nicest people you could meet. Ever so friendly, approachable. You could speak to him about the cars, anything you want to. When the helmet's on and when the visor's down, he's a complete and utter animal. And with only the prize in mind. There's some famous clips of him on YouTube leaving wheel spin tyre marks on another competitor's roof. But the nicest person you could meet.
And on the bottom is our unofficial KMC wheels clock. Today is the KMC qualifier. Everybody's pushing hard to get that KMC Hard Charger Award. And speaking of that, in the 4600 Pro Comp stock class is Albert Contreras. The 4900 Can-Am UTV class, James Cantrell. And the 4800 G2 Legends class is Casey Gilbert.
So you can see these cars, obviously the numbers start with a 45. They also have an orange background as opposed to the Legends having a yellow background, which just makes them easier to distinguish when they're covered in mud, covered in dust. So, and obviously the 44 have a white background. But you may have noticed on Matt Howell's, he can have a red background to his number because he won the championship last year. Now, I know personally that he does not want an orange background on his number board because it doesn't go with the red, white and blue of his car. So that's quite funny. If he can keep that red background, he'll be very happy.
One of our female competitors, Sarah Amaral, getting ready to take off the 45-38. She's been racing with us quite a bit, doing very well this season. Great to see her out there. She's roughly in that top 10 in national points, so Sarah's done a great job this season. Again, thank you everybody here on site and back home all over the world for tuning in. Ultra4racing.com/live. Hit up our King of the Hammers Facebook. Sarah Amaral, hot on course.
I'm massively impressed with the ladies that do this. Bailey Campbell, when she comes over those rocks, it's just unbelievable that somebody so young could be so quick.
So across the line, the 45.02, Kevin Stearns with a 144.1. Very respectable run, but it's still out front by 6 seconds. Vaughn Gittin Jr. currently sitting in that KMC Hard Chargers position.
That is to be expected, isn't it, really, with that Brocky car. It's an amazing piece of mechanical engineering, and this is why he's going up to the 4400 class.
So there's Sarah coming down the Big O Dodge Rock section, taking that right line that we have pretty much decided is the fast line during qualifying, but during the race, there'll be 2-3 wide coming, just bombing through there. It's going to be a sight to see.
Yeah, it'll be a big mix-up of cars, pickup sticks, I think. It's probably going to be like.
Yeah, this is the KMC qualifier. These guys are pushing off the line, the 45.80 of John Matthews. Tomorrow is the 2018 Four-Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship here at the Wild West Motorsports Park, just outside of Reno, Tahoe. So if you're anywhere in the area, please come on out. We've got tickets on site and online, wildwestmotorsportspark.com.
Go and see Roxy and get yourself an event t-shirt, buy all the things.
That's mainly what's in my closet back at home is Ultra 4 race wear.
I bought a jacket, Miles, for the banquet. I haven't had a jacket in, I think, about 10, 15 years. Other than that, it's hoodies and t-shirts.
I'm just going to wear a collared shirt and call it good enough. So we were talking about Matt Howell and Jimmy Jack earlier. Jimmy Jack with his new wife, Amy Jack, sitting in the co-driver position. They're patiently awaiting to take off. Number 63, Jimmy Jack, another Nitto-sponsored machine, running those KMC wheels. Hot on course with that 208 Motorsports tune, really ripping through the gears. Jimmy Jack is always a crowd favorite to watch. He's heading into the Four-Wheel Parts turn 1, hitting the Steel It launch downhill jump. Heading into the MBRP double down jump. Really checks up, keeps her on the ground. Got those Nitto tires drifting around there. That was an absolutely perfect turn there.
He's definitely hungry. I would say this is going to be quicker than Matt. Matt, I think, is playing the long game, which is, of course, is part of it. It's all about strategy.
And the action is about to get exciting, Drew. I see some of the 4,400 unlimited cars getting lined up. Looks like we have 3 more in staging to finish out the 4,500 Rubicon Express modified class. I see Scott Decker. He was working on his UTV in the pits. So we'll get him qualified here very shortly.
So Jimmy Jack over that rock garden, just about to cross the finish line. Let's see what the time is, Miles.
So Jimmy Jack with a fast time. New pole position setter. Jimmy Jack just bumped out Vaughn Gittin Jr. with a 1:23.5. Jimmy Jack is smoking out there, Drew.
That's amazing. I said he looked like he was on it. He's definitely hungry.
So if he stays there, KMC will reimburse his entry fee. Jimmy Jack's going to be super pumped up with that. Matt Howell's going to have his hands full tomorrow.
It's a long game though, Miles, isn't it, tomorrow? They've got a few more laps.
So in that KMC hard charger position, Jimmy Jack 1, Vaughn Gittin 2, Mad Mike Bedwell bumped into 3rd position. John Matthews, Jesse Balter, Sean Rance, Matt Howell, Kevin Stearns, Sarah Amaral, and Chuck Crossland.
There's John Grounds coming down the Dodge rock section.
And we have Cody St. Clair, 4561, taking off, getting the green flag from Texas Jesus. But yeah, John Ground, he's got that beautiful Daystar sponsored machine heading into the 4-wheel parts rock section in his TJ. John Ground's having a very respectable run. On screen there, hitting the chip, Cody St. Clair really pushing hard. Another fun guy to watch in the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class.
Look who I've just found, Miles.
Mr. Matt Howell. How did you do out there? And guess what? Jimmy Jack just threw down the fastest time in your class.
We clearly did very poor out there. I felt like it was pretty smooth, but it was not fast enough. And even just coming off the course here in the time for my team, and we knew it was probably not a great time. But congratulations to Jimmy Jack. That's awesome. That's an amazing time.
And this is going to set up tomorrow so fun. You're sitting number 1 in the national points. Jimmy Jack's, 32 points behind you, if I'm not mistaken?
I believe that's accurate. I think it's 32 points. So we're going to have to turn up the heat a little bit and let it hang out. This is about to be real fun this weekend.
So you have some qualifiers tomorrow to get in the main. What is your strategy tomorrow after today's qualifiers starting towards the back? Jimmy Jack up front. You're really going to have to push hard to catch him.
Yeah, tomorrow in the prelim, we're going to have to finish top 5. The fortunate position we're in is that we don't have to beat Jimmy Jack. We just can't let him beat us too bad.
Well, Matt Howell, you're a crowd favorite. We'll be excited to watch you tomorrow. Thanks for chatting with us, buddy.
Yep, thanks, Miles.
And off the line with number 819, Scott Decker. He's part of Miller Motorsports. He was working on his UTV earlier, so he got back in line. So he's running his qualifier. Cody St. Clair just finished that Nitto start finish line. Cody St. Clair with a time of 141.4.
That flies really well over that tabletop.
Yeah, over the Savvy tabletop, Scott Decker really launching. That vehicle is set up for short course. Scott Decker's fast. We'll see if he can bump out James Cantrell. It's going to be extremely close. So the time to beat for Scott Decker is 129.018. It's going to be close.
Am I right in thinking he's Eric Miller's co-driver for King of the Hammers?
He's definitely co-drove for Eric Miller multiple times. He's got a few different ones, but Scott Decker knows these courses well. I see Justin Hall, our first 4400 class. He was just over the sea racing, I believe in Austria. Number 13, Pro Comp sponsored machine, Justin Hall on course. So my bad, Justin Hall is in the 4500 Rubicon Express class. He missed his time, but he's out on course. Number 13, Justin Hall. Going to try to beat out Jimmy Jack. So what did Scott Decker come in with? Scott Decker had a 134.2, so he does not bump out James Cantrell. So James Cantrell still sitting in that KMC hard charger position for the 4900 Can-Am UTV class.
Again, Miles, that just shows you how quick those side-by-sides are, the UTVs. Scott Decker's placed in the middle of the 4500 group.
So up next, Drew, we've been waiting on this all day long. The 4400 Unlimited guys will be taking off in just a minute or two. Up first, Bailey Cole. He is son of the owner of Ultra 4, Dave Cole's. Great to see him out here. He's in a 4800 car, but racing in the Unlimited class. He's in a Trent Fab chassis, running Nitto tires, Amada sponsored, KMC sponsored. Bailey Cole getting ready to take his qualifier. He'll be our first 4400 class off the line.
So 4400 class cars, basically anything goes. Engine can be in the front or in the rear. Tyre size is unlimited. I think one thing it says in the regs is it must be four-wheel drive. But other than that, anything goes. So truly unlimited off-road racing.
So I'm going to round out the KMC hard charger for the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class. Jimmy Jack with a 123. Vaughn Gittin, Mad Mike Bedwell, John Matthews, hot on course. Bailey Campbell, the 4400 class is on course. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. He's got that Trent Fab chassis really going good, heading down the Steel It launch. Bailey Cole launching down there, getting ready to hit that MBRP double down. He is flying, going to have to hit those brakes hard to slow down. Gets in there, drifts the corner all the way around. Bailey Cole is really pushing hard with Tom riding shotgun. They've been teamed up for quite a while. They've got this car dialed in. What do you think, Drew? Bailey Cole's running a good run.
He's an unbelievable driver considering his age, and he's had a lot of experience. There's a lot of talent there as well. I remember going shock tuning with him at King of the Hammers, and we endoed and bicycled and then handstand, and he drove out of it like it was nothing really. So yeah, he's definitely got some talent, and he's on it down there. As we said, he won in King of France, winning spec class car up against some of the European 4400 class cars. So yeah, he's not a slouch. He's definitely.
So Bailey Cole, fastest time of the day with a 1:15.12.
Wow.
Over 5 seconds faster than Shannon Campbell. So I called 1:15 earlier. Now watching Bailey Campbell, he's fast. But I'll bet you Jason Shear, Paul Horschel. I mean, we're going to get maybe that 110 mark after watching that. These guys are absolutely flying out there.
Andrew McLaughlin coming down that Dodge rock section. A perennial competitor. He's always at King of the Hammers. Just gone over to Max's tyres not long ago.
That's Andrew McLaughlin with Let's Roll, the 4493. And a Jimmy's IFS two-seat chassis, really pushing hard. Off the line, number 91, Alex Wacker. We have action on course. Andrew McLaughlin launches over the four-wheel parts rock garden. We'll see what his time is, a 1:17.9. He also bumped out Shannon Campbell. These guys are flying.
Wow, it'd be interesting to see what Wacker does. He's obviously found a nice groove with this Tribe 16 car. You wouldn't have thought that anyone would have done any better than the Penhall car he had before. That was just like jewelry. You could have used it every day as an everyday driver, but he's definitely, this Tribe Fab car is definitely better. He's definitely in the groove there.
He's got Josh England riding shotgun. Josh is one of our highlighted co-drivers out there. He really spends a lot of time in these cars. He usually double dips in UTV, Ultra 4. He'll hop in anything. Josh England is an animal in that co-driver seat. Up next, the number 1982. That's going to be Don Fisher. So we've got, I'm going to guess, 35 plus Ultra 4 guys getting ready to take this course on.
Can I just go back to Josh England just to make a point that he's one of the nicest people you can meet and does 3 King of the Hammers in different classes, which is a marathon to say the least.
So look who's pulling on. Cody Addington, number 888 with ADD. So Whacker got a 123.75.
Cody Addington in the Orange Dragon. This car's the most winningest Ultra 4 car in history.
The Red Dragon, newly nicknamed the Orange Dragon. He's shaked it up a little bit, but he kept those Nitto tires on there. Cody Addington, this is his first fast year, and he's proven he's already gotten a couple podiums this year. He's a force to be reckoned with. And this car is made for short course. It's a single-seat Jimmy's IFS chassis, and listen to that motor scream. Cody Addington's hot on that throttle. Don Fisher just pushing hard through the 4-wheel parts rock section. Don Fisher should have a pretty quick time.
So when Addington went into that car from a solid axle car, when was the first race? Was it Ridgecrest? I think he did it, and he got out of the car and went, "You lot have been cheating. This IFS is a different level."
I think that was actually in Oklahoma when he debuted it. Don Fisher with a 121.22. So Cody Addington coming down the Big O Dodge Rock section in the Orange Dragon, really pushing hard. Lots of horsepower. The motor's literally sitting in the passenger seat. That car is an absolute work of art. And I've heard there's about 3 more that just got Jimmy's is just getting ready to put on the table. So it'll be a fun year to see. Cody Addington, the fastest through the 4-wheel parts section. Absolutely launching through there. Holy cow. Cody Addington will get his time here very shortly. It's a 112.7, fastest new time of the day.
Wow.
Cody Addington, 112.7.
I think he touched the ground about 3 times in that rock garden.
Absolutely skipping through there. Another crowd favorite pulling up, number 20. Disco Derek West out of Springfield, Missouri. He's been racing with us since the beginning. Another KMC Wheels sponsored, Nitto sponsored driver. He just he has won Race to Riches with all the bouncers back to back these years. Just won the Outlaw race the whole season. Derek West is a lot of fun to watch. He's finished top 10 King of the Hammers multiple times.
Multiple times, sometimes top 5. He came to race with us in Europe, in the King of Wales.
So while we were just excited watching Cody Addington, number 32, Sam Collins, he's one of 16 people trying to earn a spot for the 2019 Nitto King of the Hammers. There's 10 spots available, 16 drivers going for it, so that's another story to speak for itself. I was in Derek West's camp last night. They're having drivability issues where they were giving it a legit tune-up, new plugs, new wires, and he got that car dialed in. He's running a supercharged LS motor, and Derek West is pushing hard. Look at Derek launching, almost over jumps, gets it back under control. Derek West is pushing hard in that solid axle Jimmy's machine.
It's funny, Miles, isn't it? When you start with the 4400 class cars, you can smell the brakes in here.
Smell the brakes, smell that that race fuel. Yeah, I can smell that Renegade race fuel burning out there. It smells great.
Damn. Derek just overcooked it there a little bit, getting on a bad bounce at the wrong moment. He nearly saved that.
And you saw how hard he was pushing. So tough break for Derek West. The car still looks like it's in pretty good condition. We're going to get our crew down there, make sure everybody's okay, but tough break for Derek West.
So these cars are designed and engineered and also safety teched to be able to do stuff like this and roll, and there's fuel safety valves in there, so it mitigates any incidents or any issues. Everyone's wearing fire suits, fire helmets, and the crew are there on scene.
So this is the 4400 Unlimited class. The points leader right now is Eric Miller, followed closely by Waylon Campbell and Josh Blyler. So they're sitting 1, 2, 3. The last time Eric Miller came into the championship in the lead, it was a heartbreak. We just got the thumbs up from Derek West. Great to hear. But I was talking about Eric Miller 2 years ago, came in to this race in the lead, had an issue in one of the heats, did not make the main. So Eric Miller is really going to be pushing hard. And again, I had the great chance to ride with him this morning. We'll put that on later today, the little in-car ride. But I rode with Eric Miller out there. That guy is an animal. That car is an animal. He's got a great setup going. It'll be fun to watch all these 4400 guys. And while we have a little break in the action, let's give a long shout out to all of our sponsors that make this happen. Without these guys, we wouldn't be here. 4 Wheel Parts is our Eastern Series sponsor. Amada, Amsoil, Axle, Bestop, Can-Am, ESOB, Fab Schools, the Manufacturers Cup, G2, Genrite, Griffin, HCR, Holly EFI, Jeep, King, KMC, LaserNut, MBRP, Method, Monster Energy is on site, Nitto Tire is on site, Optima, PCI Radios is in my ear all day long, ProComp, RCV, Axles, Renegade Race Fuels on site. They have brought fuel to every single race this season, so thanks to those guys. We are in Reno, Tahoe, Rigid Industries, Rubicon Express, Champa, Share My Coach, Savvy, Smitty Built, Smiter Tracks, Squatchbox, Steal It, Tensor, US Gear, Warren, and Yukon. So a huge shout out to those guys. Thank you very much. Without them, we would not be here today.
And also support the people that support us as well. I mean, if you're in the market for some oil or tires, then it's good that these people are supporting us, the sponsors, because we couldn't do it without those. So share the love and buy the stuff that they're selling.
You're absolutely right, Drew. But thank you for everybody back home for tuning in. We're going to have to log off Facebook for just a minute to get everything rebooted. So if you want to go over to ultra4racing.com/live, do that. We'll keep the racing action going. But you can stay on Facebook. We'll be right back. Ultra 4 Racing and King of the Hammers Facebook. Get on the Instagram. Do all the social media hashtagging. We really appreciate everybody back home tuning in. I mean, how cool is that? You can tune in on your smartphone and watch this wherever you are all over the world.
That's a real shame about Derek West. He was pushing there and was very, very dramatic with his driving style there, and he just got a bad bounce at the wrong moment. It's not really driver error, it's just one of those things, unfortunately. Pushing a little bit too hard, wrong rock in the wrong place, and it happens.
So the 4419 of James Sweeney getting ready to take off. He is another guy trying to qualify for the 2019 Nitto King of the Hammers. Number 50, that is Jeremy Brown, another guy trying to qualify with a very respectful run of a 131.6.
I'm just seeing Derek West back up and rolling.
The car looks like it's in good shape. These Jimmy cars are built extremely well. And still sitting in that KMC hard charger is the one and only Cody Addington with a great smoking run with a 112 sitting in that KMC hard charger position. Speaking of the KMC hard charger positions, it's James Cantrell in the 4900 Can-Am class, Casey Gilbert in the 4800 G2 Legends class, Jimmy Jack in the 4500 Rubicon Express modified class, and Albert Contreras in the 4600 Pro Comp Stock class. So KMC is going to reimburse all those guys their entry fee, but we can't quite give it to Cody Addington yet. We still got a lot of heavy hitters out there. I see two-time Nitto King of the Hammers winner, Lauren Healy, a couple spots back.
In the new Red Dragon.
Red Dragon 2.0 is what they're calling that, and it's an absolute work of art. Jimmy's 4x4 really can build a nice car. So James Sweeney coming across the Nitto start-finish line. We'll get a time on him very soon.
The thing with Jimmy's fab, and especially with Lauren, and even the Orange Dragon, they're always pushing the boundary, always pushing something new. There's a lot of trophy truck stuff in there. The back end's completely different to any other car here. Just trying something different just to give them that performance advantage.
So Lauren Healy patiently awaiting, revving up the motor, getting ready to take off. And that MBRP sponsored machine, Nitto tires, KMC wheels, King shocks, Spider Tracks, ARB, the list goes on. He's heavily sponsored by a lot of our sponsors. Great to see.
You're watching Ryan Stomber coming down into the rock garden now. He's just finishing his lap.
And there goes Lauren Healy all over the throttle, pushing hard. But remember, I was talking strategy with him this morning. He wants to be top 10. He doesn't necessarily want to be on the pole. But hey, Cody Addington in his old car is sitting there, so that may give him a little more ambition to push hard. Lauren Healy smoking fast. He's going to give Cody Addington a run for his money. Remember, I was lucky enough to ride with Healy and Ridgecrest, and that guy can drive. That car can handle, so he is going to be pushing.
Scandinavian flick there around that worn number 3 bend.
So the 5150 Brendan Thompson, that's Joe Thompson's brother, the cohort behind UFO Fabrication.
Yeah, lifting a wheel there. As you can just see Lauren coming into the back of that shot over the rock garden.
He's pushing pretty hard. Not quite as hard, but it's going to be close. Is it going to be a 115's my guess?
Again on the left.
Lauren Healy with a 114.6, so 2 seconds behind Cody Addington in his old car. So that puts Lauren Healy in second place.
There's a lot of life left in that Orange Dragon, isn't there?
There's a lot of life in a lot of these cars. Here's Edwin Abden, the 4475 Pro Comp sponsored machine. But on screen, 5150 energy drinks, Brendan Thompson. You've seen him on American Chopper. Great to see him over on the Ultra 4 side.
His business is motorcycles. Makes some very stylish motorbikes.
He's in a straight axle UFO built Joe Thompson machine and really pushing hard. So who do we see? We have
Edwin Nice. Launches it off the last of the rock garden.
Dan Wyrick in that brand new UFO Joe Thompson built single seat IFS machine getting ready to take off. But on the line is 427, Jason Waits. Lots. Edwin Abt on screen. There's the unofficial KMC clock to keep you guys interested back at home for watching. Thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Ultra4racing.com/live, the King of the Hammers Facebook, Ultra4 Instagram. Check it all out. Hit that share button. Tell everybody, do not miss tomorrow's racing for the 2018 Four-Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship just outside of Reno, Nevada at the Wild West Motorsports Park. There's a lot of action yet to come today. It's going to be an early start, Drew. 7:15 racing goes all the way till 5 o'clock tomorrow. We're going to have our hands full. It's going to be fun.
Definitely.
So just looking down the line, we have Jason Waits, Dan Wyrick, Darren Hinkey, Nick Nelson, Clay Gilstrap, Levi Shirley, Brian Caprera, Brendan Thompson. We got a lot of fast guys lined up. The action is hot right now. So if you aren't tuned in, you should be. So getting lined up, Dan Wyrick in that brand new UFO single seat machine. This is its debut race. He is looking for one of those, the 10 spots out of 16 drivers. He's got a very healthy chance to land a spot for the 2019 Nitto King of the Hammers.
That's an awesome shot of the drone there on the back straight, from the drone, sorry, turning into the Dodge rock section.
So Edwin Abt with a 143.50. So there goes Dan Wyrick with that 208 Motorsports Tune UFO machine all over the throttle. And the number 427, Jason Waits, just kicked a huge rock off that 4-wheel parts rock garden. So it'll be interesting to see if that shakes anybody up. Getting ready to come on next is Darren Hinkey. He's heavily sponsored by Oscar Blues.
I spoke to Darren in the pits. We were talking about whether he was going to take Darlene with him, his wife, who usually co-drives. She's probably out there spotting for him now. She's not in the car, so he could arguably drive a little bit faster. Maybe because his loved one isn't sat next to him, he hasn't got to worry about them. But it'd be interesting to see. Darren's always puts on a good show.
So Dan Wyrick in that brand new car is keeping it together. We'll see if he can keep it smooth through that 4-wheel parts rock section. Darren Hinkey and Darlene, I don't think she's riding actually right now, but Darren Hinkey hot. Oh!
Whoa.
You guys missed it on screen, but Wyrick just did a huge nose, almost rolled it in the rock garden. Dan Wyrick with a smoking time of a 1:18.7. So that puts him top 10, maybe top 5, but he's got a smoking run.
And with a near lawn dart in the rock section.
And another exciting guy to watch, the Mr. Nick Nelson. He's raced with us Ultra 4 for a while, took a little bit of a break, built an all-wheel drive trophy truck. It's still at home. He robbed a few pieces off of that to put it in his Jimmy's chassis. It's a 2-seat IFS, almost identical to Lauren Healy's car. So we'll see what kind of time the number 40 of Nick Nelson can put down. On screen is Darren Hinkey, another 2-seat IFS machine. He races all over, misses very few races out of Colorado. Darren Hinkey has a smooth run going. And taking off is Nick Nelson. This is going to be one to watch. I guarantee he'll be top 5, top 10 if he keeps the car together.
900 horsepower in that car, Miles.
Absolutely insane. Look at him carrying a tire to the four-wheel parts turn 1.
But he's had a lot of time off Ultra 4, so, you know, can he still do it? He had a bad motor in King of the Hammers, blew a motor, and I saw him instantly in the pits helping out, welding on people's cars.
Did you just see him launch the Savvy tabletop? Nick Nelson is putting those Nitto tires to work.
You would think it had wings, the way it went over there.
He's pushing hard. He's going for that KMC Hard Chargers position. We'll see if he can bump out Cody Addington. Again, his time to beat is 1:12.7. It'll be close. You'll see how hard he hits that four-wheel parts rock garden section. Getting ready to take off is the number 1177, Mark Nicholson. ORA Racing.
So Mark is qualified for King of the Hammers, but some of these cars aren't, so they're trying to get a slot.
Look at Nick Nelson. That was probably the fastest, smoothest run through there. Nick Nelson, what's his time going to be? Third fastest, 1:15.8. So he is actually fourth fastest because Bailey Cole is a 1:15.12. So that's still top 5. Great run for Nick Nelson. Another fun one to watch, number 26 out of Texas, Clay Gilstrap.
It's good.
Pew pew.
Yeah, you beat me to it. He's a good friend, but when you say Clay Gilstrap, you have to go pew pew.
We had a lot of fun last night. He's been racing with us since the beginning. He's put a lot of hard work into that. That's another Tribe 16 built machine. Originally for Shane Chicky Barton, sorry. So Clay Gilstrap has a smooth run going. There's that unofficial KMC clock at the bottom. We'll see how hard he pushes it. I think Clay Gilstrap should be top 10 if he keeps this run going.
So the 1177, Mark Nicholson, just crossed the finish line with a flat front left.
And another crowd favorite out of Dodge City, Kansas, number 81, Levi Shirley. He's currently top 10 in national points. He's raced all over the world. He's a fun one to watch.
Europe's favorite. We love him in Europe.
I thought you said I was Europe's favorite.
You're one of Europe's favorite. You're famous in Europe. I traded paint with Levi. Brian had to get out of the car and pull rope for me in one section. And Levi was running around trying to get bits for his car. Yeah, we love him in Europe.
And right behind him, the number 9901 in a Campbell 2C IFS chassis. He's a vegetable farmer, Brian Caprera. He'll be fun to watch. He's been doing a lot of shock tuning on that thing, so we'll see how hard he pushes it. Levi Shirley, you hear that horsepower. He's going for it.
He's had some big horsepower upgrades.
Coming through the rock section, Clay Gilstrap takes it a little bit easy. He's going quick, but not all out. Saving the car. But Clay Gilstrap, I'll bet you this is a top 10 run.
He still got round to that rock garden quite quick there, Miles.
Levi Shirley on screen, smoking through there. Takes that Armada turn perfectly, hitting the Savvy tabletop. Levi Shirley's got a great run going in that single seat Campbell chassis, IFS. He's running the King shocks.
So I was talking to Brian Capero, who's next on the start. He's made some changes. As Miles was saying, he's been doing a lot of shock tuning. I think they've moved the fuel tank. But he was saying, you know, he doesn't want to be too hungry. He wants to do enough, but, you know, if he does well, he'll have it as a surprise.
And Levi Shirley on screen coming down the Big O Dodge Rock section. Looking smooth, looking fast. Getting the green flag, Brian Caprera. You see the unofficial KMC clock? Remember, these guys are trying to beat out Cody Addington. Levi Shirley smoking over the 4-wheel parts rock garden section. This is going to be a quick run. Is he going to be out Cody Addington? I don't think he quite has it. So that puts him second fast. Levi Shirley with a 1:14.1. Great run. 2 seconds off of Cody Addington.
He's a crowd favorite next. 666 Hells Bells. Matt Torson, still got to qualify for King of the Hammers. That's quite a powerful car, I seem to remember.
He's got an LS9 supercharged, sniffing 1,000 horsepower, running Rockwell axles, running 44-inch tires. Yeah, he says he put his baby tires on for the short course, but at King of the Hammers, he'll put back his 54-inch big monster truck tires on there. Chatted with him quite a bit last night. He's in the works of building an IFS chassis the next year or two. A lot of fun. Hell's Bells, Matt Thorson on course. So Brian Caprera coming in the rock section. He's smoking through there, bouncing all over. Almost kisses the K-rail, knocks that rock another 15 feet into the course.
That's a big rock as well. You've got to imagine how much energy is needed to knock that out of the ground and then knock it another 10 feet.
Brian Caprera with a 1:17.1, so that should put him, top probably 6th or 7th. So it goes 1, Cody Addington, 2, Levi Shirley, 3, Lauren Healy, 4, Bailey Cole, rounding out the top 5, Nick Nelson.
Thank you for the tires, Miles. I was just going to say about Hell's Bells, it's a good example of what you can do in Ultra 4, where Brian has obviously looked at the car and thought, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to use Rockwell axles. I'm going to try 44-inch tires. And there's no such thing as a perfect Ultra 4 car. It's a personal representation of what you think will work.
So 1943, Randy Watson, like you just said, is going for one of those King of the Hammer spots. So there's 10 spots available out of 16 non-qualified for next year's 2019 Nitto King of the Hammers. So Randy Watson on course. Matt Thorson in Hell's Bells, number 666. With all that horsepower coming across the Nitto start-finish line.
He did make that look easy there, actually, with those larger tyres, even though he considers them small.
Well, it's been a great day of racing for today's KMC qualifier. They've stepped up all season long for the KMC Hard Charger. The top guy in each class, they will reimburse their entry fee. So a huge, huge shout out to KMC Wheels. And those Hard Chargers are James Cantrell in the 4900 Can-Am UTV class, Casey Gilbert in the 4800 G2 Legends class, Jimmy Jack in the 4500 Rubicon Express Modified class, and Albert Contreras in the 4600 Pro Comp Stock class. And as it sits right now, top of the box for the 4400 Unlimited is Cody Addington with that 1:12.7, fastest lap of the day. So a huge shout out to all those guys. But we still have quite a few heavy hitters. I see Jason Shear, all the Gomez's, Wayland Campbell. There's a lot of fast guys yet to come. All the Millers, Eric Miller, Rusty Blyler. I mean, there's a lot of fast guys to come.
Paul Horschel.
And don't forget, Paul Horschel still has Bailey Campbell, our only girl racing in the 4400 class.
So a little break. Obviously, Race Ops has decided that boulder there that came out was
a safety hazard.
It's a bit of a safety hazard. If you hit that at full pelt and wasn't expecting it there, it is going to leave a mark.
So up next, getting ready to stage, is Jeff Brown running his Miller Motorsports chassis. He's raced with us all season long. He's from the East Coast, so this was a long haul. Actually, if I remember right, George Schooley actually hauled this out for him. So he flew out. So there again, that just shows the love of everybody in this sport. It's a family affair. George Schooley helps out Jeff Brown. Everybody's here to help everybody. If there's a broken part, Eric Miller, the guy that builds Miller Motorsports chassis, has spare parts galore, and they fit each and every car, and he's willing to give it to anybody. So another fun guy to watch, Mike Bergman in that beautiful Joe Thompson UFO built machine. That car is made every single race. If you remember right, Joe Thompson drove that car at Ridgecrest the last race because he had a brand new baby at home, so he stayed at home to be the great father that he is. I just saw Jeff Brown lift a tire but kept on rolling smooth. He was the guy I was thinking of earlier, running the Yokohama tires.
These Gomez cars, the Joe Thompson cars, they always put on a good show. I remember one season before tyre balls were banned, and he crossed the finish line with tyre balls going everywhere. Always splitting tyres.
So Mike Bergman will be leaving the line in roughly 10 seconds, patiently awaiting. IFS, IRS. This is his rookie season in the 4400 class. Hot on the throttle. He is going somewhere. Looks like Jeff Brown has a right front flat. So tough brake on that, slowed him down a little bit. But on screen, Mike Bergman hitting that blind downhill jump. We'll see how hard he's pushing. He is flying. Sets her up nice. Does a little nose heavy. Absolutely all over the throttle in Amada corner. Hitting the savvy tabletop. Mike Bergman's pushing hard. It's sitting number 2 in the national points. Normally in the number 3 car, but driving his dad's car because it's got more horsepower. Waylon Campbell, heavily sponsored by Nitto Tire, Monster Energy. Another single seat Campbell Enterprise IFS car. Waylon's one of our younger drivers. Him and Levi Shirley are very similar cars, very similar in age, and those guys battle it out each and every season. It'll be a lot of fun to watch, and I'm excited to see him in his dad's car, see what kind of difference this will make.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone would think bad when I said he was a bit of a, whoa!
Mike Bergman completely sideways, gets a little off camera, but crosses the line. That's going to be a great run for Bergman.
Waylon is all out coming down here.
Mike Bergman, I believe that puts him in like 7th or 8th place with a 1:16.30. He'll be extremely happy with that. But on screen, Waylon Campbell is flying out there. If I remember correctly, in Kentucky, Waylon blew a motor, so he was able to drive his dad's car there and said it's a complete different animal, way better suspension, way more horsepower. Waylon Campbell's going to be a force to reckon with this weekend.
He's got some big shoes to fill as well, hasn't he, with Shannon? I mean, they were very close to each other in KOH, but Shannon didn't let him take it easily.
So Shannon Campbell's actually bumped out of the top 10, so just goes to show how fast these guys are. I'm excited to see Waylon's time. But on course, getting ready to take off, 44.86, Marcos Gomez in the Ugly Duck, another Joe Thompson UFO built machine, almost identical to Mike Bergman, IFS, IRS. Marcos Gomez, one of the 3 voters racing this weekend. Waylon Campbell, what's his time going to be? 1:18.8, so that's top 15. So
one of the Gomez brothers on course now, always fun to watch. I think probably the most dramatic of everyone that's racing.
And our current King of the Hammers winner, Jason Shear, he sets the pole position at King of the Hammers almost every year. Number 76, Safecraft, Starwood Motors sponsored machine, Jason Shear. He just won our Triple Crown. That was a lot of fun. That was King of the Hammers, the Mint 400 in Crandon, and Jason Shear brought home the Nitto Triple Crown. I'm excited to see him. We'll see if he can bump out Cody Addington out of that KMC hard charger position. This is going to be one to watch, Drew.
If there's anyone that can do it, I think it will be Mr. Shearer. He's always brilliant at qualifying.
And he's hot on the throttle. Jason Shear on course. He's going to be pushing hard to get that pole position. But Cody Addington still has it, so time to beat, 112.7. Marcos Gomez just crosses the line. Wow. Jason Shear probably has the longest jump, then bicycles it into Mana corner. He takes the double down jump. Jason Shear absolutely driving the wheels off that machine. I think that cost him a little bit of time. He's going too wide. He's bicycling. Jason Shear is pushing. He is our current King of the Hammers champion right now, and he wants to back that up next year for the 2019 Nitto King of the Hammers. We'll see what he does today. For the KMC qualifier, Jason Shear pushing hard. It'll be interesting to see how hard he hits that 4-wheel parts rock garden. Drew, it's been a great day of racing, buddy.
Unbelievable. I can't take my eyes off the screen watching Jason Shearer. Now, is he going to launch it over here? There was a little dab of brakes then. Whoa, whoa!
Jason Shear all over the course. That is going to be a fast time. Almost rolls it in the rock garden. Jason Shear with a time of 1:14.9. So that puts him in 4th position. So the top 5, Bailey Cole with a 1:15. Jason Shear with a 1:14.9. Lauren Healy, 1:14.6. Levi Shirley, 1:14.1. Our current hard charger, KMC hard charger, Cody Addington, fastest time of the day, 1:12.7. Great run by all these guys. I heard Brian Croft just take off. That is a rental car to him because he's having a current car built by Jimmy's 4x4. It took off, was missing, spitting and sputtering, but looks like he's got it running good. Sitting online now, another one of my buddies, 4130, Tim Priest, MBRP Nitto sponsored machine. That's another Jimmy's chassis. That is almost identical to Lauren Healy's old car that won King of the Hammers.
Again, Tim Priest is looking for a space at King of the Hammers. He's not yet qualified, so he's going to be going for that as well as a win or well as a position in the race.
So Tim Priest on course. Here's Brian Croft. He's still pushing pretty hard, getting a pretty good wheel stand. The 4 Parks Rock Garden is proving to be a lot of fun to watch. At the bottom, you see the unofficial KMC qualifier clock. We're watching Tim Priest hitting the MBRP double down in the Armada turn. He's been really working hard to get this car dialed in, and it looks like it's the best it's been in a while. So lining up next, the number 530, that's going to be Joe Hutchins. He's fighting for one of those 10 spots out of 16 for next year's 2019 Nitto King of the Hammers. So thanks again, everybody back home, for staying tuned in. This is the KMC qualifier, getting everything all set up for tomorrow's 2018 4-wheel parts Nitto National Championship. We're just outside of Reno, Nevada, just right next to Reno Tahoe. This is at the Wild West Motorsports Park. If you're anywhere near this area, come out. There's still tickets here on site or online. Wild West Motorsports Park.com. Come watch it. It's going to be a great weather of racing. You can see the entire course from the grandstands are getting filled up. Come on out. So Tim Priest heading over the Nitto start finish. There's number 530 on screen. Joe Hutchins with a pretty smooth run going. Number 12. That's Jeff McCullough with All South. That's Bill Baird's old machine.
Beast.
The Beast.
The
You're
Beast.
right, Drew. He's put a lot of his own touches on there, and that's a very proven, very fast car. We'll see what kind of time Jeff with All South can throw down.
It's smaller than you think in reality. It used to look a real massive beast of a car. Again, did a lot of the shootouts, didn't he, in it, the backdoor challenges.
And if you remember that car, I'm going to guess 3 to 5 years ago was the car that rolled down this rock hill when Bill Baird was driving. It took a couple barrel rolls down the hill, landed on the gas. He shook his head a little bit on the throttle, kept going. So these cars can really take a beating. Jeff with All South on course. And one of our female competitors, a beautiful car, Bailey Campbell with Terry Madden getting ready to take off. Number 35, that's another Monster Energy Nitto Tire sponsored machine with Terry Madden riding shotgun. Remember this race last year, she took a pretty bad tumble Terry had some back issues, but he's back in that passenger seat. I hope to see Bailey and Terry do well today and tomorrow.
Yeah, that was quite a major thing, wasn't it, Miles? It knocked them both for six, physically and emotionally. It was such a big crash.
So we have Rusty and Josh Blyler coming up soon, Jason Blanton, Ben Swain, Kenneth Goodall, Kyle and Jade Wickham. Still haven't seen Eric Miller. Still haven't seen Paul Horschel. We got a lot of action. Please stay tuned in. Ultra4Racing.com/live. Hit the share button on our Facebook, King of the Hammers. Get on the Instagram, hashtag it up, share, share, share. Tell everybody the KMC qualifier is going down now. Stay tuned on. We go live tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. sharp. It's going to be a fun day of racing for the 2018 Four-Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship. Look at Bailey Cole all the way sideways. Drew, this is fun.
She's amazing. It still boggles my mind. We were doing some media stuff with her earlier in the week, and she was going over these rocks like they weren't even there. Car's jumping really nice over the Savvy tabletop. She lifts a little wheel there.
There's a great shot from our live drone.
The drone shots are just making it for me.
She's taking that left line, Drew.
Did a lot of pre-running, so she knows something we don't know.
And we've been talking about co-drivers. They're a huge, huge part of this race. And Terry Madden, JT Taylor just said he is the best co-driver he's ever had. We just saw Josh England earlier. Holy cow, these guys are flying. Bailey Campbell launching through there, all over the throttle, hitting that chip. Bailey Campbell, is that going to be a top 10, I believe?
She made that look easy. Madden is arguably the best co-driver in the world.
Bailey Campbell just bumps into 8th place with a 1:16.8. Great, great run. Bailey Campbell and Terry Madden. So 46 on course right now. The Happy Pappy Rusty Blyler heading into the Four-Wheel Parts Rock Garden, hitting the Nitto start finish in his Miller Motorsports chassis. So up next, another beautiful Jimmy's chassis, Mr. Jason Blanton, the number 966. You've seen that car all over the internet. He's been doing a lot of videos. He's been doing a lot of TV shows. That's a huge horsepower, big block. He's going to put those new tires to work. That car is brand new this year. He tried debuting it last year at the Nationals and just didn't quite have all his ducks in a row. So its first race was this year at King of the Hammers. We'll see what kind of time he can throw down. It's going to be very fun, very exciting. Jason Blanton getting ready to take off.
So this is a big block, isn't it, Miles? This one, it's slightly different to the LSs usually used.
Huge horsepower, you can hear it. That is one of the loudest cars on course.
You could definitely hear it in the noise, but that's a different motor.
And that's just a great, look at all that horsepower lifting the tire, hitting that blind downhill jump. Jason Blanton is really pushing hard. And that 2C IFS Jimmy's 4x4 chassis. And a huge bicycle saves it, gets her back on the ground, on the throttle, hitting the Savvy tabletop. Going into turn 3, which is the Warren. And this is a long uphill straight away, and you can hear that big block screaming, Drew.
It's power sucking that climb, but obviously he's got plenty of it.
Again, thank you everybody tuning in back home. Again, I'm Miles Hasselquist alongside of Drew Wright. We've got Scott Rain out to the crowd. It's been a lot of fun. This is the KMC qualifier. They're trying to bump out Cody Addington with that time to beat of 1:12.7. This is the KMC qualifier. We'll see how hard Jason Blanton hits the rock garden. He is all over it. Gets a little slideways back under control. That's going to be top 10 for sure. Jason Blanton on course. Believe that's the number 36 of Ben Swain. He's trying to qualify. So 13th position for Jason Blanton, 1:18.6. That just goes to show how hard these guys are pushing. So Ben Swain just does a huge bike in the Amata corner. Up next is, I believe he's in third position. Yes, he is in the national points. Josh Blyler in that Miller Motorsports chassis.
Josh Blyler always puts on a show as well, doesn't he? I mean, he's quite new to the sport. He's come into with the Miller chassis, and straight away he's keeping up with Eric and the top chaps.
This is his second year racing with us. He's a little bit calm and collected, a little bit quiet, but I've got to know him quite well. Got him out of his shell. Josh Blyler's a lot of fun to watch. He's finished well at King of the Hammers both times he's raced there. So it's going to be fun to see Josh Blyler take off here very shortly. There's on screens Ben Swain. So on course, Josh Blyler, Big B Motorsports. We just saw his dad, the Happy Pappy. Rusty Blyler. So in the four-wheel parts, turn one. Hitting the Steal It launch blind jump. Heading to the MBRP double down. Josh Blyler's pushing hard. Those Nitto tires are really, really working well.
Flies nice and straight over the Savvy tabletop, Josh Blyler.
So Kenneth Goodall getting lined up. We saw him in his UTV earlier today. So heading into the Big O Dodge Rock section, Josh Blyler looking smooth, picking his lines. I believe Chad Hunt, he usually races with us, but he's riding shotgun, and he's hoping to buy a Miller chassis for next season. So he's getting a little taste of his medicine. Josh Blyler hitting the rock section hard, getting completely airborne. Josh Blyler, Big B Motorsports. That should be a top 15 run. We'll see. $1:17.44 for Josh Blyler.
So next on the start is a late Legends, 48.23.
That's Kyle and Jade Wickham. They did qualify already for the Legends class, but they're going to double duty and race in the Unlimited class because they're stepping into that class next year. They're having a two-seat IFS car built. They're a brother team. They swap driving from time to time. They have a lot of fun in the car. They're a lot of fun to watch. Kyle and Jade Wickham taking off as we speak, getting the green flag. Kyle, Jade Wickham in their Jimmy's chassis.
So the next car on the start is a familiar car. That's Tom Way's old car. It's been bought by Mike Bowe. Still got his old car as well as Mike, but it'd be interesting to see now.
So this is Mike Boo, and that he just bought that car from Tom Ways here recently. Redid the motor, redid a lot of things. This is an old Tribe 16 car, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
It'll be a lot of fun to see. Number 54, Mike Boo. He's another older gentleman in our sport, but has a lot of fun doing it.
Definitely. I bumped into Tom in the camp as well, who's telling me about his new car, which is coming. That sounds going to be pretty good.
So with Doug Jackson out of the mix for being one of our oldest competitors, it may be Mike Boo, maybe Shannon Campbell. Just a lot of fun to see both spectrums, young and old, still out here racing with us.
You know, Stephen is watching. Stephen Jackson is watching. He's listening to us, Miles.
You know he's missing it, but I'm glad to see him back home tuning in. We definitely miss you, Doug, or Stephen, sorry. But I see Paul Horschel getting ready to line up. There's still a lot of fun and fast guys. I see a couple Gomez's. I finally see Eric Miller. Boy, howdy, this is going to be a lot of fun.
I've been looking forward to watching Paul Horschel. You know, he's always one of the best qualifiers. Fast, built his own car. This is one of the only ones that isn't, should we say, I don't want to say off-the-shelf car, because that's not right, but this Paul Horschel's built his own car to his own design.
And he's actually currently building a new one. It's a very similar to this car, but this is a single seat. His new car is a two-seat chassis. He'll be debuting it at King of the Hammers. And speaking about debuting, here's Mike Boo. This is the first race he's entered in Tom Way's old car. Mike Boo looking smooth. Paul Horschel, another huge horsepower. He was leading King of the Hammers this year for quite a while until he got turtled over. But Paul Horschel's going to be fun to watch. Look at Mike Boo bouncing through there all over the rock section.
That's a great shot from our camera team on that rock section there.
Paul Horschel overjumps a little bit wide, still all over. He's in the loose stuff, but really drifting hard. Paul Horschel's going to have a fast time. Absolutely launches the Savvy tabletop. A little wide again. Paul Horschel and Jason Shear are overdriving just a tick, costing them precious seconds. So Cody Addington, one of our first but fastest guys of the day, Cody Addington sitting in that KMC hard charger position. Speaking of hard charger, it's still James Cantrell, Casey Gilbert, Jimmy Jack, Albert Contreras, and so far so good, Cody Addington. Fastest lap of the day, 1:12.7. Right around a second and a half faster than Levi Shirley. Paul Horschel on 3 wheels. We'll see how hard he hits the rock section. He has absolutely lost the right rear tire, but all over the throttle, sideways across the Nitto finish line. But boy, I told you he blew some corners. That's 17th or 18th, I'm not quite sure, with a 1:19.4. So that's top 20 for Paul Horschel. Some of these fast guys we were talking about aren't so fast when it comes down to this qualifier. So Ironman number 34, Jeff McKinley getting lined up. So Sean Holland on course, number 4416. You see there the unofficial KMC qualifier clock on the bottom. When he gets to the bottom of the Big O Rock section, we'll send Jeff McKinley. I think I heard he's getting a Jimmy's chassis himself here shortly. So Jimmy's is really pumping out the cars right now. So a huge shout out to Randy Rod, Mike Seward, and the whole Jimmy's crew. 4416 sounding a little rough over the finish line.
He's definitely missing. I think he hit the limiter a bit hard going up that Nitto hill.
So 116.7 for Sean Holland. That's a very, very respectable run. So another guy you've already seen race today, the 4894, that's Rick Levezzo. He's teamed up with Jimmy Jack, part of Jack Racing. They've really stepped their program up this year. So it's great to see him double dipping, just getting some seat time here at the 2018 Four Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship. We're here at the Wild West Motorsports Park just outside of Reno, Nevada, Reno Tahoe. It's a beautiful weekend of racing. Wind's blowing just enough to help out with that dust. Mid-70s and sunny all weekend long. If you're anywhere in the area listening to us here on ultra4racing.com. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun, or come in person if you're close enough.
Yeah, tickets still are available, plus there's camping. Jeff McKinley getting a little bit sideways out of the rock garden there.
So Jeff McKinley looks like top 25 with a 121.3. So how crazy is it? Less than 10 seconds are split in the top 20 plus people. These guys are competitive. Up next, another crowd favorite, part of Gomez Brothers Racing, 4483, Raul Gomez. So that's Rick Levezzo in Amada corner. Bicycle ended up upside down. We got our crew getting out there, pushing hard, making sure everybody's safe and sound. Tough break for Rick. That'll put him towards the back of the pack for tomorrow's racing. This is our 5th year racing here at the Wild West Motorsports Park. We got the thumbs up from race director JT Taylor. Rick Levezzo is okay. We'll get him righted. So while we have a little break in the action, let's give some sponsor love. Without these guys, this would not be possible. 4-Wheel Parts, Amada, Amsoil, Axil, Bestop, Can-Am, ESOB, Fab School Manufacturing Cup, G2, Genrite, Griffin, HCR, Holly EFI, Jeep, King, KMC Wheels, Laser Nut. They've made all the trophies for this season, so huge shout out to Cody Wagner and Laser Nut. MBRP, Method, Monster, Nitto Tires here on site. Optima Battery, PCI Radio has kept all the information in my ear all season long. ProComp, RCV, Renegade Race Fuel has brought race fuel to each and every race this season, so great on them. Reno Tahoe, Rigid Industries, Rubicon Express, Champa, Share My Coach, Savvy, Smittybilt, Spider Track, Squatchbox, Steal It, Tensor, US Gear, Warren, and Yukon. So this year's King of the Hammers has stepped up in a huge way, Drew. We talked about it earlier, but on Thursday, Score is going to help us out. We're bringing out trophy trucks. So we'll have Robbie Gordon, Rob McCackern, Bryce Minzy, BJ Baldwin, the list goes on. They're racing for over $100,000. So huge shout out to Toyo and Monster to bring the Toyo Desert Challenge to Thursday's race for King of the Hammers. And then on Friday, they upped the ante over $100,000 for the 2019 Nitto King of the Hammers. This year is going to be crazy out there. I hope to see you there, Drew.
I'm definitely going to be there. I can't wait to see these trophy trucks. Definitely one of the fastest things across the desert ever. Would struggle on some of our rock sections, but as a spectator sport is a massive, especially on the internet. You've only got to do Google, you put into YouTube BJ Baldwin. While we're on the subject of sponsors, one thing that is very impressive to me is Armada, who brought a flatbed laser to the lake bed last year, and we're doing on-site laser cutting for teams that needed anything making. So I don't know whether...
Did you take a tour through that little booth they had? That was absolutely amazing to have a multi-million-dollar laser cutting machine on site. So Amada, thank you. That was cool to see.
And to see what has to be done to set those things up, they have to be millimeter perfect, level, and the cooling system that goes with it. And to see a flatbed laser in the middle of the desert.
Gomez Racing, Raul Gomez, hot on course, 4483. Another Joe Thompson UFO built machine. He's raced up front a lot this year, had a few issues, but Raul is always fun to watch. Those Gomez Brothers Racing guys are absolutely insane. They are all throttle, and they don't care what they tear up.
Which one of the Gomez was it did half of King of the Hammers on a flat tyre? He missed a remote pit, and then he was trying to radio his brother, and it didn't work, and he ended up coming down back door on a flat and just went, forget it, I'll finish the whole lap.
Yeah, it's been a lot of crazy, and our last race winner at the Ridgecrest race is JP Gomez. That's his first win in Ultra 4, so he's fresh off that victory. He'll be very excited. Number 4482, J.P. Gomez, another single-seat IFS UFO-built machine. So Raul's out of the rocks. JP's on course. Lots of action right now. We'll see how hard Raul hits the rocks. Absolutely sending it, putting those middle tires to work. Almost kisses the K-rail. Raul Gomez with a very good run. Could that be top 10? So Raul Gomez just gets into third position with a 1:14.6, bumping out Lauren Healy by 100th of a second. Great run for Raul Gomez.
Just going back to JP Gomez and the Ridgecrest race, I think that was really deserved.
They've been battling with us for 4 years, have ran up front multiple times, but they drive so hard. They have dumb luck from time to time. So you're right. Very well-deserved win for J.P. Gomez. Yeah, Richard Crossland just put that tidbit through my PCI radio. J.P. had a pretty bad tumble in the Stampede last year, had some back issues, so great to see him back here racing up front. Absolutely beating that car through the 4 Wheel Parts Rock Garden. So number 4409. Matthew McCowan, he's battling for one of those spots. So 1:14.3, just bumped out of his brother, less than a half a second. 1:14.3, J.P. Gomez, third place, right in front of Raul. So they're going to have fun in the pits tonight, talking the smack. They love doing that.
And on the start line is Dr. Eric Miller. Could have been a doctor, decided to go racing instead.
And I was able to ride with him this morning. Eric Miller is on a mission. He wants to be top 10. That's going to be harder than he thought. This morning he was thinking he could race 80%, get top 10. No, sir, you're going to have to run 100% to get in that top 10. So the number 21, two-time Nitto King of the Hammers winner, Eric Miller getting ready to take off. And I'm telling you, I rode with Healy last race, rode with Miller this morning. It's so cool on a personal level for me to ride and for me to talk to you. Those rock sections way bigger than you think. Coming down that steel at launch, it's a blind jump downhill. Eric Miller on course. And you can tell by that the scream of that engine, Eric Miller is pushing hard. I think his spotters are telling him, you have to run close to that 100% mark.
I wasn't a big fan of the gold wrap, but it looks very good tonight with this low light.
Here in Reno, it's shining, it's sparkling. He's got that James Bond theme going. Number 21, Eric Miller, really pushing hard. Absolutely drifting those Nitto tires, heading up that long straightaway.
That's one of the quickest we've seen go up there.
And he's got a brand new motor in that thing. This morning when I rode with him, he missed the corner just a tick, hopped on the throttle all the way, and it literally picked a tire off the ground in that corner. That thing is a runner. He's picking his ways through the rocks. Those Miller Motorsports impress me in the rocks. And Eric Miller, two-time Nitto King of the Hammers, is proving that for sure. We'll see what kind of time he has. Getting ready to take off the number 4802. And Eric Miller pushing hard. We'll see. Is that top 10? It's going to be close.
He didn't really send it over that rock garden there, Miles. I think he must have thought, I'll go quick everywhere else apart.
Eric Miller, 14th with a 1:17.6. He will be happy with that because he told me there are multiple heats tomorrow to get in the finals. Remember, 2 years ago, he was leading the national points just like right now, and he had a bad run in one of those heats, took him out of the running, so he definitely wants to make it to the main. So play it a little safe. Eric Miller, we'll see him in the main. I'm almost certain of that.
Points-wise, he's in front, so he has a start on other people, but looking at the gap, he's only 10 points in front of Wayland, so
that's going to be the race to watch tomorrow is Wayland Campbell, Eric Miller. Josh Blyler's not too far out of the mix. I'm going to give you a quick rundown of our top 10. Remember, everything we do say is unofficial until we dot the I's, cross the T's, but 10th place, Sean Holland with a 1:16. Mike Bergman in 9th with a 1:16.3. Nick Nelson, 1:15.8. Number 7th is Mr. Bailey Cole with a 1:15 flat. Jason Shear, number 6, 1:14.9. Lauren Healy in 5th with a 1:14.6. Raul Gomez 4th with a 1:14.6. Third position, JP Gomez, 1:14.3. Levi Shirley, 2nd with a 1:14.1. Still sitting in that KMC hard charger position, Cody Addington. This is his first year in that car, and he has proven he deserves to be up front.
Definitely, Miles. That was an amazing run from Mr. Addington.
And you've been with the Ultra 4 for quite a while, Drew. Do you remember him in the old Toyota buggy?
Yep.
Back when he did that, I started rooting for him because he finished the EMC, and Dave Cole let him run in the King of the Hammers race. Was out of time, but finished 2 days in a row in nearly a stock Toyota. And then he upped the ante with a Trout buggy with a straight axle, got in the 4400 class, sold that, was going to take a break. Lauren called him up. He said, gave him a price that he couldn't pass up, bought the Red Dragon, and I'm so happy to see Cody Addington really filling those shoes well.
That first year at KOH, he said they didn't have a nav computer in the Toyota, and he had literally a printed map, and it was destroyed by the end of the race. And he said that they didn't know whether the nav would hold up until the end of the race because it was just getting ripped and torn. Yeah, the consummate everyman. Again, not a professional driver, but somebody that decided to do this as a hobby and has grown and progressed, and his results have paid dividends. He's driving now what is arguably the most winningest car in Ultra 4.
It is the winningest car in Ultra 4 for sure, but it has not won the King of the Hammers yet. We'll see what he can do in next year's 2019 Nitto King of the Hammers. Again, we are towards the end of the KMC qualifier for this year's 2018 Four-Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship. We're here at the Wild West Motorsports Park just outside of Reno, Tahoe. It's been a beautiful day for qualifying and equally beautiful for tomorrow.
So I think we've got one more car, Miles.
So thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. Ultra4Racing.com/live. Tuning into the King of the Hammers Facebook. Hit up the Instagram, Ultra4. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. We go live at 7 a.m. and we'll be racing all day long. We have kicking off at 7:15 the UTV prelim. And then we'll go into the stock prelim, go into the mod prelim, go into the Legends prelim, and then at 9:30 the first unlimited prelim. We'll have 3 of those. We'll have 7 cars advance to the final. Then we'll at 11:30 it'll be the UTV main. We'll take a lunch break from 12 to 12:30, and then we'll do the 4400B main. 5 of those cars advance. At 1:15 we'll do the stock main. At 2 o'clock we'll have the mod main. At 2:45 we have the Legends main. At 3:30 it'll be the 4400 LCQ. We'll have 2 of those advance, and right behind that will be the 4400 main event kicking off at 4 o'clock sharp. So please tune in all day long tomorrow, whether you're working, whether you're home, whether you're wrenching in the garage. And it looks like that was the 773 of Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. I thought it was Wyatt Pemberton for a minute there with that purple, but it's Kevin Hart again going for a space at King of the Hammers. The last car out tonight. Shadows are getting longer, Miles. The sun's
So JT
Wow.
Taylor just told us he just put a brand new transmission in that. That's why he was late. So only missed his mark by a couple minutes swapping a transmission. Huge shout out to Kevin Hart. And he's one of our guys trying to qualify for next year's Nitto King of the Hammers. And he's really pushing hard. That tranny solved his issues, Drew.
Just imagine you're that tranny, you were sitting in a box in a crate, and now all of a sudden you're out there doing that, strapped into that. So he's gone for the right-hand line there, but the sun is going to make a difference now. It was definitely in his eyes on a few of these jumps, and now with the shadows getting longer, he's not going to be able to see that line quite as easy as the previous cars.
So number 773, Kevin Hart, crosses through the rock section, hits the Nitto checkered flag. That was a pretty good run. Right around that 120 mark, I assume. So 23rd, Kevin Hart with a 120.5. So that's pretty good run for everybody. So thank you for staying tuned in. Ultra4Racing.com/live, King of the Hammers Facebook. This was the KMC qualifier. So if everything stands the way it stands, it's going to be James Cantrell in the KMC Hard Charger for the 4900 UTV Can-Am class, Casey Gilbert for the 4800 G2 Legends class, Jimmy Jack for the 4500 Pro Comp Stock class, Albert Contreras in the 4600 Pro Comp Stock class, and then right now it's still Cody Addington with a 1:12.7, fastest lap of the day. All those guys are the KMC Hard Chargers. KMC is going to reimburse their entry fee, so huge shout out to those guys. We are going to shortly wrap up, but this has been the KMC qualifier. Thank you again for staying tuned in. Tomorrow is the 2018 Four Wheel Parts Nitto National Championship. Once again, I'm Miles Hasquist alongside Drew Rout. We've had Scott Rain with us. Thanks for tuning in. You guys have been having fun, Drew.
Definitely.
What are we going to do tomorrow?
Well, we've got 5 minutes left here just before the course closes. Just in case anyone who's out there who's working on the car has damaged it in pre-running is now able to just have that last opportunity to qualify. But yeah, the clock's running out. They've got a minute and 16 seconds now. So that's about it. So I've been Miles Hasselquist and you've been
Drew Wright.
Thank you very much. And let's hope that you can all join us back here tomorrow. Early doors.
It's going to be a long, fun day of racing. So like I said, be sure to tune in 7 a.m. sharp California time. It's going to be a fun day.